cracks, wounds at max. It's movie night because the gang's all here. Grip with fear, more horror films, alright. We break them down and rate them up. Crack some jokes to crack you up. Malevolent Movies has appeared. A movie night for your ears.
Mr. Ziegler, please start the show.
Now, Joe, before we start, how much research? Did you do any good research?
No, I did.
He's been up all night.
I listened to the commentaries. I did the backstory of Matilda Dixon, which is fake. They do like a little fake documentary on the TV.
That never fucking
there's
occurred to
not
me.
a tooth fairy.
Joe better have done his work, because I spent fucking $10 getting this goddamn DVD so I could rip the materials.
Oh yeah, the special
Joe,
features. Yeah.
What's the lead actor been up to?
The lead actor? I have no idea.
But
it's not in this movie. Yeah, he was a first-time actor for this movie.
It doesn't matter. You're researching this movie. One would ascertain that you did a cursory look into the lead actors.
No, I never look at actors.
Oh, Lord. Give me the strength. Give me strength.
He's so bummed out. He's so bummed out already.
I'm going to yell at you so hard. Also,
I'll yell at you. You were late.
I could be fucking late, motherfucker.
Okay.
I could be late.
Okay, that's fine.
Mom, Dad, don't fight.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to Malevolent Movies, the podcast that harkens back to that golden age of scouring the video store shelves with your best pals, trying to find that perfect slice of stinky cinematic cheese for a Friday night, and gathering around the old TV, VCR, DVD combo in the basement as the low-budget opuses unfurl. The way the show works is each member of the Malevolent Movies crew takes a section or two of the night's film, and we break it down beat by beat, eviscerating the thing right down to a husk, and hopefully finding a few goofs along the way. At the end, we each give our rating on a scale of malevolent to benevolent. Tonight is episode number 46. My name is Ryan Ziegler, and I am joined by Mr. Tyler Am. How you doing, Tyler?
Hey, guys, we got to get this thing moving. I got to be out of here by 2:30.
Hey.
2:30. Get it? 2:30.
Right out the gate. That's amazing.
I want to say I want molar of that all night long. Trevor McCandless is here tonight. Hello, Trevor.
Go to somebody else. I'm looking up tooth jokes. How are false teeth like stars?
I don't know.
nailed that one, I think.
No, it's a Q&A, Zach. Hey, everybody. This is classic Trevor and Zach mess around here at the top of the show. Zach, how are false teeth like stars?
I don't know, Trevor. How?
They come out at night.
Yeah. Really good.
And as you heard, Zach Shaw is here tonight.
Yes, and unfortunately, I have no Novocaine jokes about teeth or anything like that.
All right. I'm not going to introduce Joe Buckley because he's not worth it. Plus, we have a special guest tonight. Mr. Tony Grunwald has returned to the fold. How are you doing today, Tony?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me back. I'm happy to be filling in here tonight. So this is fun. This is going to be fun.
Let's drill down into this movie.
Love
Good.
it.
And we should,
Yep.
I will introduce
Boy,
Joe.
I can't wait till this is over and we can say goodbye, Cuspid.
I like that the only person who actually works with teeth had to look up so many tooth
Dude, I'm
things.
too close to it. I'm too
Yeah,
close.
that's fair.
You can't possibly make jokes.
Yeah, you're tooth blind. I get it. Just like Joe with his face blind.
Tooth blind. I love
His
it.
face blind, his director blind,
Yeah.
his actor blind.
All right. Yeah, and Joe's here too. And speaking of infected cavities.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to know what I use instead of toothpaste?
Okay. Nope,
Wow,
that's getting
great.
cut.
There we go.
Good. All right. Well, Joe is working tonight as our Cyterian, so he does have a reason to be here. He's going to be giving us facts and tidbits and history that he supposedly dug up about this movie, which is from 2003, Darkness Falls.
So originally, this film had a lot of different titles. Originally, it was going to be called Tooth Fairy. That was changed. It was going to be called Don't Peek. It was going to be called The Ghost of Matilda Dixon.
I like
It was going to
Don't
be called-
Peek as
Yeah,
a name.
Don't Peek.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So,
That's good.
originally this was supposed to be a short. This was not supposed to be a
Oh,
film.
you don't say.
I think it could be a short.
Still is.
Listeners,
Still is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Still is.
It's an extended short.
Yeah, so this director had done nothing before except for one short film, and he was going to do the opening as a short film. But basically, he had been pitching this, and like some other people got on board and then expanded it to a feature.
Bad move.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah.
It's
So
been a
okay,
slow
Joe,
week.
did this guy have connections? Because if he made one short film and then suddenly people were like, "Hey, what's your next idea?" This is a lot like who's the doll guy, the Annabelle guy?
David Sandberg.
Yes, David Sandberg. That was his deal. Is that he was making some pretty good short films, and then he just got elevated to helping with the Conjuring stuff. I mean, he seems like a nice guy. He's doing well for himself.
Yeah.
As for this guy, I don't give a shit what he's done. I'm so angry about this movie that I refuse to even give him a redemption possibility.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's like a shitty studio guy. Yeah.
He made a terrible sequel to what I really like, the Clash of the Titans remake. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, but I have a lot of fun.
Oh, Wrath of the Titans?
The Wrath of the
Yeah,
Titans.
the original.
My man did Wrath.
Yeah, this guy did Wrath, and he also did one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Michael Bay movies.
He did
the second one or the first one.
And
He did the
Battle Los
first one.
Angeles. Remember that, Butte?
And Butte, yeah. He also recently did the Robert Downey Jr. post Endgame vehicle Doolittle.
Wow, he's only had misses, huh? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
not a single good thing.
I apologize, fellas. He was the director of reshoots.
Reshoots.
and Was
So he did
the
reshoots.
executive producer.
Was the pooping dragon his idea or the farting dragon?
Oh God, I'd like to hope so.
That I did not hear about in the commentary.
That was in
No.
Doolittle, Joe.
Oh,
do
okay.
it.
I was gonna say there was no farting dragging in the Tooth Fairy.
dragging.
Oh, use English.
So this guy's somebody's nephew, right?
That's
I
what
mean,
I'm
yeah.
assuming.
He's
I mean,
He's
somebody's
not
nephew.
though. I mean, he is. His cousin is also a director. However, his cousin didn't start making movies until after he did.
He doesn't even have any like journeyman style to where like, okay, this guy's competent enough. We could give him. I mean, he seems to be handed series mostly, but like he doesn't. But there's nothing there. It's not even
I
like.
wonder if he's just like brings stuff in early and under budget. Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
that guy.
right.
He's just that kind of a guy.
right.
Yeah, they did say the movie was on budget. It was not.
Well, I
overinflated.
mean,
I
sometimes
believe
that's all that
that.
matters.
A little bit goes a long way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, did you happen to look up what movie this knocked out of the #1 spot opening weekend?
They did say it was #1 in the commentary. I didn't look up what they overplayed.
So it was #1 the weekend it opened, and it knocked off the #1 spot, Kangaroo Jack from the week before.
That was a
Oh my
hard
God.
knockout. Yeah.
So if this movie had never come out, I mean, Kangaroo Jack, it just
could've
would have
kept
kept
going.
going.
Yeah,
I mean,
#1 2 weeks in a
we
row.
could be looking at some Maverick money, some top
We
of Maverick
didn't
money.
need more reasons to hate this movie.
Right.
It, didn't,
Yeah,
it
I'm
had to
livid
slight us
now.
on Kangaroo Jack. This is horrible.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm mad about it. Joe, did you find the Darkness Falls comic book?
I did. Yeah, I did. I got about
too. It
halfway
sucks.
through it. It's not good.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Not good.
There's a comic book?
There is a
Yeah.
comic book. There's a 1-issue comic book from Dark Horse.
Why?
It's explaining the backstory of Matilda Dixon. So
But
basically,
we get that in the movie.
no, but this is more backstory. So she was a I think I would have been 8 years old whenever this came out. I think even back then I considered it too juvenile for me.
Okay,
Yeah, definitely.
Whatever. So
That's
did
a
you figure
burn.
out? Did you? Where are we at here, Joe? Are you still telling us about the stuff you found?
Yeah, he was still laying down the facts. I had brought up Kangaroo Jack,
great.
and
Oh
there was-
God.
there was Kangaroo Jack. About
Oh, okay.
55 minutes of Kangaroo Jack talk, and then
Yeah, I mean, so basically this was horrifically kind of like done by like reshoots.
Well, that's confusing though because, and I know Joe's a Cyterian, but unfortunately, when I was getting him the materials from the DVD, all of the quote unquote deleted scenes didn't make it. But I watched through all like 7 or 8 of them, and none of this is the equivalent of a deleted scene. It is.
Okay,
They are
yeah.
maybe extended scenes, but a lot of them are just like they have the ending, and I'm like, oh wow, there's an alternate ending or something here. It was literally the ending as it was. Maybe the shots are slightly different, but it's the same sequence of events.
And
then there's
Well, there was. Oh, sorry.
oh no, I'm just gonna say that there's nothing there. So like the
Yeah.
idea of the studio butchering it must have come at the script level because there's
Yeah.
nothing here on the cutting room floor to indicate that this was any different kind of a movie.
maybe they just had to pad the DVD. Maybe it was because this was 2003
Yeah.
was like big DVD.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everything was banging. So like maybe they're like, you got to put some deleted scenes on there. Like there's no deleted scenes. minutes. Just
Yeah,
put the regular
yeah.
scenes in there.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, because
They
it's so
just pad it
short
out.
anyway. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe cut together using like different takes or something.
Right.
That could be it.
I do have some images of what the Tooth Fairy originally looked like.
That's good for a podcast.
Thank you, Zach. All right,
Yeah.
so
Everyone close your eyes. Joe's going to describe the Tooth
That is
Fairy.
much. Hold on. This is much better looking.
Yeah, absolutely.
That
Yeah,
it
and there
actually
was
looks
a.
like it
oh,
is-
dude,
has
this
an-
is so much better.
It's incorporated actual teeth into it.
Yep.
Oh,
Tyler and I spoke earlier today, and I said I don't understand why it's just a porcelain mask. There's no teeth incorporated into the design.
Hold on, though, Zach. You're a liar, and you know it because
No, what?
when that porcelain mask falls off at the end, it
Okay, it
comes
has
with a bunch of
perfect-
teeth, and by bunch I mean one handful.
Yeah, they fall out, and then she has like normal teeth, doesn't she?
I think so.
Like
yeah.
she just has like
Yes.
normal people teeth.
Including a missing tooth.
Yeah, she's just a burnt woman. That's the monster.
She's a tooth fairy. She's gonna take care of her teeth.
But basically, the monster design was changed so late in the game that they already had made up toys with the title The Tooth Fairy and like sold them under McFarlane Toys with the original design.
Why?
I also found online NECA did a bobblehead of the Tooth Fairy, and it's going for $220 right now on eBay.
Wow.
The redesign idea is wild because isn't this a Stan Winston joint? Like, isn't his like he designed the head and all that? Like, so
Originally, it was going to be Doug Jones in the
in
costume.
a suit. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Man, that'd have been cool. Because I remember the Fangoria issue when it came out about this movie, and they had images of Matilda Dixon. It looked really cool. The one that we end up seeing kind of in the movie. The like full-bodied photos. I was like, hell yeah, it looked real badass. And but then the movie came out, and then
What kind of studio asshole goes, "Oh, Stan Winston made this. It looks like shit. We need to fix this. We need to fix this."
a studio that's riding high on Spider-Man money.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
In the producer-only commentary, they say that half of the film was reshot, then it was screened, and then almost all the shots of the monster was added in, and more was reshot. They try to explain that.
I just don't
For a
even.
movie that has so much reshoot, there's like no footage.
There's
like
nothing here. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Like the editing, it's just like there's no connective tissue through a lot of these, even the simple dialogue scenes. They just
Well, to give the audience some context, this movie is 75 minutes long, and there is a 12-minute
11-minute credit
sequence.
scene.
Yeah, 11-minute credit sequence.
yeah.
Well, in that point you made about the opening being its own self-contained thing that the director wanted to do, I 1000% believe that because there's this one prolonged shot before we finally get a glimpse of our titular Tooth Fairy, where I'm like, this is why this was made. It's this one shot here as we pull out of a bathroom, and the fact that that was maybe supposed to be its own fucking story. What a bad idea.
That should be the
Yeah,
entire movie is them
Yeah.
that age. Because then they are literally like leaving childhood behind and now they have to fight the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, and they kind of be like it, like all the kids band together with
Why
their
the
teeth.
fuck don't you have this be teens? You have those
Right.
two kids. They're fine. I'm sure they could figure it out. They gotta be better than these other people.
So originally, there was going to be a scene where like all the adults like in this film who you kind of see for a bit. There's going to be a scene where they were all like boys and they want to try to catch the Tooth Fairy. So they pull out their last baby teeth, and then they try to stay up to try to catch her. And then Kyle is the only one who's still up and sees her, and he screams and wakes up all the others, and then they see her, and that allows her to kill them later on.
That's a great idea.
Sure.
Fine, I
better.
believe it, but I gotta get this off my chest. The concept of it having to be the last tooth means fucking nothing. It
Yes.
means absolutely any tooth, just any fucking tooth.
Right. The last tooth is bullshit. Yeah.
Which is why this movie would be 1,000 times better if this was set in some like rural hick town where everybody works at the candy factory, and the candy factory is pumping just shit into the air where it's perpetual darkness, and everybody's eating candy and their teeth are all falling out. And so regardless of age, you're being attacked by the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, an 80-year-old like that's my last one. That's my last one. Don't take it from me.
Okay.
Sorry.
I have a feeling that all of us are going to have a better movie idea.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
because
without a
I
doubt.
see a great movie in here. Not from what we saw. I mean, you'd have to start from complete scratch, but it has nothing to do with the Tooth Fairy part. I would throw the Tooth Fairy shit out of here. Out of here.
See, I like this because the tooth fairy's everything for me.
Because it has little to nothing to do with this movie. Like,
Yeah.
it's
That's why I want to take it and make it the whole movie.
That's what I'm saying. They don't just own it. They don't lean into it.
Yeah.
They try to
hide it.
they try to hide it. They're almost it's the movie's almost embarrassed of
Yeah.
it after a while. And
Yeah.
that's the bummer part of it. If they just leaned into it, if they got into the lore a little bit more, the whole like if you look at her, that seems so glossed over that by the time that they bring it up again, I'm like, oh yeah, you're not supposed to look at it. Like
The only way that this makes sense to me is if the quote unquote tooth fairy is just after teeth in general, but it's like a creature, it's a monster. It doesn't know why it does what it does. It just does it because all of this explanation behind the light and the connection to kids, but then the death of the person that started it all, like it's all convoluted. Honestly, I'm shocked that this is 2003 and not 2009. Yeah, because this feels like PG-13 horror algorithm, the movie.
Yeah, well, they were getting very, very big at this point. You had Ring, you had all that, like, just junk.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Name the rest of them.
Well, Sixth Sense, Signs.
But I looked and not so much 2003 because this came out in January 2003, but the year before was The Ring and I think The Grudge or some of those, a lot of those like J horror ones. And
the era of the PG-13 horror.
Well, I almost wonder if a studio was like, we need to find something that's not like Japanese folklore. Like, what is an American folklore thing that we can? Americans are weird; they hide their teeth under the pillow. Like, let's write a movie.
Well, I was going to say an executive bit into a bagel, and they're ooh, and then their tooth came out, and then tooth fairy.
That's brilliant, Mister.
They press the intercom. They're like, Betty, give me Joe Harris. Like,
give me Joe Harris now.
Get me Liebesman's grandson.
right.
It makes sense that this movie came out when Return of the King came out because they decided to start the movie with a knockoff of the Lord of the Rings introduction where we learn all about Matilda Dixon.
Same thing. I thought the
it
same.
is so obvious.
The echoey narration,
I kind of liked it, but then I just started to hate the rest of the movie real quick. So maybe it's because we just watched Dead Silence, but this is pretty much the same. It's a knockoff of Freddy Krueger. It's Mary Shaw's origin. This woman in town was a wonderful lady, and everyone thought she did something bad, and then they killed her, and now she wants to kill people. That's her whole origin. You get it.
But we don't even know that though, because the idea was she was some nice old woman who gave children a gold coin for their teeth,
which is already weird.
Well, of course, sure, but like sometimes old women are just like that. They just she probably didn't have any children of her own because she was barren.
That's explained in the comic book.
What? Go ahead, Cyterian.
So she was a beautiful woman. She married a fisherman out on the sea, and they didn't have any children of their own. So the husband was killed at sea. So she started baking all these treats for these little boys and girls. But then these naughty boys went into her house, just trying to look around. And and they accidentally set it on fire, and that's where she got all burnt. So then after that, she started...
No, hold on.
That's not the origin we're told in the movie.
Yes.
No, I know it's different. It's different, yeah.
Well,
but that's not even the question, though.
But anyways, in the actual movie, the woman
that comes up too.
It's nice old woman, gives coins for teeth, and then two kids go missing. The town assumes it's her, much like Mary Shaw, but it was Mary Shaw, that bitch.
Yeah.
But we don't know for sure if it was Matilda or not. And
it's explicitly said it's not Matilda in the comic.
Well, but it also mentions that the boys were found okay the next day.
Yeah, they show up.
It was literally half a day, and they were like, "Kill the bitch!
Yeah.
She's eating their teeth.
You know what? You know what? I would have liked it if they had simply just said that it turns out the adults did that because they just wanted all of her gold coins because she was a rich heiress or something.
There you go.
Right.
That would have
makes sense. They wanted
Yes.
to rob her.
Solved it.
Her
right
husband
there.
was a pirate, and she was his pirate bride, and they have a thing
That's
of
good.
doubloons.
That's something.
Yeah.
Here's a question. So, Tony, you're a dad. Yeah.
Right.
If an old lady was buying your kids' teeth for gold coins, would you accept that? Would you be okay with that? I know gold is great, but...
Right. No, it's wonderful to get gold and to receive gold for such a thing that you were just going to throw away.
Yeah.
But no, that's not, I mean, that's
not
weird.
Good.
That's very bizarre. I mean, I would, if we want to do some sort of hangout time on the porch that's supervised, that's fine. But, I don't want my children volunteering their teeth to strangers.
Come come on, Tony, give me your child's feces. I'll give you quarters.
You're just gonna flush it anyway. It's just gonna go in the sewers.
The tooth fairy thing is a pain in the ass to begin with. Like, you gotta be like, we screwed up when we started anyway.
Tony was doing it the wrong way. He was taking money from his kids and putting teeth into their mouth.
Teeth backwards. The kid can't buy any milk at school because
he's got too much teeth in his mouth.
The kids are going to school trying to buy the hot lunch with a handful of teeth.
A handful of teeth. Like, this is not good. No, son. We don't need this.
Principal's like, we need to
But yeah,
Please, sir, I only have teeth to pay.
Jesus Christ, 3 molars for the carton of milk. Inflation.
Would you care for a bridge, sir? I have a bridge for you.
Mr. Grunwald, your son today tried to buy Pizza Day with some incisors. Could you please? But either way, I do not want my kids going to some weird old lady's house to get gold coins. And what am I going to do with a gold coin? Seriously, like,
nobody knows.
What are we talking about?
Knows.
I mean, I can't
Nobody
exchange
knows.
that.
You have to take it to Pawn Stars, and Chumley's going to undersell you.
Chumley's going to undersell
They're
me.
going to
It's
bring
not
their gold
Bitcoin.
guy,
Yeah.
their gold doubloon guy.
Right.
You could frame it like a big sack of Jawea.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, those are
big
huge.
sack of Jewel. People
Joe,
are framing
Joe,
them all
do you
over their
think
house.
that's actually like sack hyphen Joea?
I just know she was on the coin at one point, and people kept confusing them
Why
with
was she
quarters,
on the
and
coin?
they had to abandon.
Why was she on the coin, Joe?
She was on coin.
Because she was a tooth fairy.
Yeah.
All
That's
right,
right.
so moving forward,
This is going to be one of those episodes, folks. Just buckle up.
buckle in.
Sickness House
So-
2, baby.
So people think Matilda haunts Darkness Falls ever since she was burned and horrifically, and now she has to wear a mask, right? Like, it's because the sun hurts her, so she puts on a porcelain mask. It doesn't matter. So people are like, oh, and there's a quote here, her curse. What I took before in kindness, I'll take forever in revenge.
That's a great marriage vow if anybody ever needs that. That's so good.
Yeah, that's what we did.
I'm getting married next year. I'm gonna remember to write that one in
Okay,
there.
Zach, do that. Take all of the
Curses?
paranormal curses, and just write them into your vows, and just threaten the shit out of your bride.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Although then I'll look in the back of the room and there's going to be like a bunch of dolls and teeth people. It's going to be weird.
I mean, don't forget to send Saint Summer an RSVP. He'll probably show up.
Oh, absolutely.
I was going to say, for the party favors, a nice little satin bag on everybody's chair with some teeth in it.
There you go.
I can make. I mean, you've seen. I can make that happen.
Yeah. So
I bet we have a tooth guy now. We have a tooth guy.
Listen.
Trevor is our tooth fairy.
So Zach, what happens after the does the curse
right,
ever
yes,
even come
of
into
course.
effect? Or
no, it's almost like the curse doesn't matter. Actually, it's like
Oh,
it's
you don't
almost
say.
like it's almost like she's only going to pick 2 boys from this town to give a shit about and kill everyone around them for some reason. And it's almost like she doesn't even like teeth. She just wants to kill people. So
right.
We get a gross close-up of some chunky kid's gob at school as he's forcing himself to bleed. He's pulling out his tooth in the school.
All right, I'm sorry. I gotta come at you, Zach.
What?
This is like Joe calling the dude from Gamebox 1.0 fat.
No, I didn't say he was fat. He was
He's
chunky.
like chunky.
He's got a
not
chunky gob. He's got a chunky gob.
Yeah.
Like,
He's got
Gross.
chipmunk face. He's chipmunk
He
boy.
has the face of a boy.
Yeah.
Look how excited Joe is getting at ridiculing another character.
Another one.
Yeah, get him.
Yeah.
Fat boy.
Look, I didn't say he was a fat kid.
His shit
No.
face. He has a shitty face. His face is shit.
My whole life, I've towed the line between chunky and over chunky. Right there. So I know
Same.
this boy's a little chunky.
Okay, whatever.
Are we talking
I'll
about the lead?
concede.
The lead kid.
This young man stands at a crossroads.
Yes.
However he decides to live his next few
Yes.
years will vastly determine his body type.
Exactly.
You guys try looking good when you're pulling your own tooth out.
Right.
I can't.
And also the tooth that he's pulling. Baby teeth. How far back did they go?
They'll
Am
go
I-
back. They go all the way back.
I will say there's no fucking way he's losing a molar that big.
No.
Yeah, he
no.
pulls out a goddamn tooth bigger than anyone I've ever had. He
That
pulls
looks
out
like a number 19 or number 30 to use tooth parlance.
I didn't know we were gonna get technical. Don't bring your technical terms.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's a movie tooth. It's a prop tooth. It's
Yeah.
it's like a
Yeah, it looks like
cheeseburger
a
in a
fucking cue
commercial.
ball.
Like the perfect. It's like the perfect
Yeah.
tooth. Yeah.
pretty strong tooth.
Yeah, and so he pulls it out menacingly, spits covered in blood. This is too much. I don't know why he's so intent on getting this tooth out. I guess because he's looks like he's 14, still losing baby teeth. And
Right.
so we cut to his mom tucking him in. We find out his name's Kyle, and his mom mentions, "Oh, you're gonna ask Caitlyn to the dance tomorrow, right?" But we have a sneaking suspicion as an audience that he's already got a date with Matilda tonight because of the tooth thing from earlier.
Oh, well, and guess what? That mom in bed conversation was completely overdone because originally the film opened up with Kyle stabbing a kid in class. He brought a knife to class and stabbed a boy, and then the mom was going to be talking to him about that in bed.
Why?
No.
He's just kind of a bit disturbed.
He's troubled.
He's a weird kid.
I have a question since you mentioned Caitlyn. What is her name? Because in the movie
Emily
she gets
Browning?
called Caitlyn. She gets called
Caitlyn,
Kate. She gets called
They call
Kat.
Cat a couple of times, but it's Caitlyn technically.
All right.
Correct.
Yeah,
I've
she
called
goes
her
by whatever.
Kat. Yeah.
Yeah, if you say anything with a C in front of it, she'll answer to it.
Yeah.
For a while, I was calling her Diet Rachel McAdams. So
Well, I thought it was Kmart Jessica Chastain.
very good. No,
Nice.
that makes sense. That makes sense. But she comes through his window, right? She busts in on through his
She
window.
sneaks on in there, and which is I love it because he's like, "All right, good night, mom." Tries to fall asleep and immediately goes to his sock drawer, gets his tooth out. Things start to get a little spooky. Maybe he's getting chased by the tooth fairy. Nah, there's Kat. She's coming in through the window.
I gotta say, I liked it because it's rare that we see the girls be mischievous.
Yeah.
It's usually the
Classic,
boys
yeah,
sneaking in. I
tomboy.
like that this
Tomboy
girl
coming through the window.
Yeah, she knows she's got her boy. He didn't ask her to the dance, and she's gonna get that fucking dance invite.
Exactly.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
almost like there's more drama and character
Yeah.
development if
Yeah.
they're stage
If anything,
children.
if we were all his dad, we'd be telling Kyle, "Hey, red flag here, buddy."
Yeah.
Buddy, come on.
yeah,
Come on.
whoa.
Buddy, usually girls use the door. So
This is one of those window girls. You stay away from
Oh,
them.
stay
yeah.
away from window girls.
Yeah, Joe, don't go chasing a window gal.
I know, a window gal will break my heart.
Well, Joe doesn't have windows in the basement, so
He can only get a. That's why Joe's down there. He just wants a door girl.
yeah.
I was going to say, you should only get a sewer hole girl because that's a rat.
I do not want to date the chuds.
If Joe shows up at a wedding and he's got his date with him and it's a little rat, we know that's his window girl. It's just
She comes in through his window, says hi, but then she immediately fills him in on Amber said asshole to Miss Allison in third period English, which is the greatest bit of gossip that when you're 12 years old you can get, you know?
Yeah. It's I missed it. Fuck.
Yeah, I missed it. She said asshole to the teacher.
Damn.
That would have been
That
great.
was the best.
There is a very prominently featured in the scene green alien
Yep.
head that's lit up on his
Oh, yeah.
dresser. Does that represent anything? Did anybody pull anything from that?
No.
Or is it
It
just
comes back in the very, very end of the little boy, the end credit. It's in that room.
shit, Joe? What did you just say?
The alien head is in the other boy's room in the very end scene.
Okay, I missed
Back at
that.
the
Thank
end.
you for sharing.
All I noticed was the Spider-Man doll because I was thinking, oh, Sony, this is
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sony's movie. It's got a Spider-Man doll right
It
there.
was
It's
wish
like, oh,
fulfillment. It came true. He wrote the Spider-Man.
that is crazy. Yeah, that is crazy when you think about
Oh yeah, he did. Holy shit.
10 years later.
All we had to do was put some Transformers dolls in Butcher the Baker's, and we could be making blockbusters.
Yes, they may make it
Yeah.
Transformers.
Somebody's got to reboot it eventually in like the
Joe
next
could
year.
be fighting Optimus Prime right now.
Wait, there's this weird skull thing in the hallway that looks similar like that.
You know what happened? When Tyler was making River City Panic, he messaged everyone the day before some scenes in a basement and said, "Bring me your nerd shit," and everyone did. And that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
happened to this, I bet. Because there's
Oh.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles there.
Oh
you're
yeah,
probably
he's
right.
this 13 to 14-year-old has bath toys.
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah,
a
but it's out of
Leonardo.
poster, and it's out of
Yeah.
focus.
So it's just a bunch of shit that people brought. I think that's the symbolism there.
Well, as
Yeah.
Kate says, when he loses that last tooth, that means he's no longer a boy. So
Yeah.
he's in
Man,
that
a lot
about the
transition
Tooth Fairy.
period. Yeah.
She knew a lot about the Tooth Fairy and the
Yeah.
Tooth Fairy lore and like seemed to be like egging him on. It was very, like I said, she's very aggressive. And so she was like, this is what you got to do, man.
This is
You
what
gotta
she
put
does
it
to
in-
every boy. She waits for his
Yes.
last tooth because
Drives him away.
she's going to
Yeah.
take that first kiss from him.
Yeah.
We're still in the first 6 minutes of this fucking movie.
I was gonna say, all right, so Caitlin's talking with him, Kat, whatever you want to call her, and he picks up his underwear. It's cute. He's flustered, and they sit down on the bed, and he's like, "I was gonna ask you to dance." She's like, "I know, you dummy." And then she plants a little smoochie on him, and then gives him another little smoochie. And she's like, "By the way, you taste like blood."
You fucking freak.
Yeah. And then she's like, "Hey, remember, as she's walking out the window, when the tooth fairy comes, don't peek, and then right out the window. And this is like a second story window. I love that. We don't see a ladder. She just fucking.
She's hardcore.
She rappels down it. She's got like a little ladder on.
But this is the movie's problem: is we get all that information, like all the lore about the tooth fairy, almost secondhand from like this little girl who, at this point in the movie, like you don't know if you're supposed to believe. Are you really supposed to be paying attention to what she's saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's very, very bad way to deliver such really what ends up being very important information.
Yeah. Well, and to harken back to Dead Silence from last week, we had a character do the same thing with Mary Shaw at the beginning of Dead Silence, where she's, and she recites the whole thing from memory. It's like weird. They didn't miss a beat on this.
We need to find a third movie. We need to make this an unofficial trilogy, I think. So whatever our next film is should be a midnight or a mid 2000s studio movie with some more ridiculous lore like this.
Yes. So then she jumps out. He looks at her as she runs away, and then lightning cracks, moons at max, and that's the end of my segment.
Hey,
he did
movie
it.
night.
That's the movie thing. That's the movie thing.
So then we go back upstairs, and it's later in the night, and Kyle has fallen asleep, but he is awakened by shrieking.
She is loud as fuck.
It starts pretty like, and then it gets really loud, and he bolts awake.
Oh, he's sopping wet.
Yeah, it's like 104 in that room. He's got the thick wool sheets on.
He's got that movie nightmare. Every nightmare makes you sweat profusely and or sit straight out of bed.
Yes.
Always ready, always bolt right up.
He's
I can't go to high school without underwear.
Holy shit. The buffer on that joke.
he's lagging over there. He doesn't see much really. He just sees like a bunch of shadows in his room really. But he lies down and then notices that one of the shadows is moving. So he hides under his single white top sheet with a flashlight, and eventually he like gets light on, and then somebody just pulls the sheet down and we see the weird porcelain face, and it screams. He screams as well and wakes up mommy. Mommy gets up with his mom gets up and meets up with Kyle, who is now in the bathroom all of a sudden. He says he saw her and asks his mom, who is gonna go check out the room that he got out of somehow, that we didn't see how he got out of. And he says this is the first time where he warned someone to stay in the light.
Yeah.
Stay in the light, stay in the light, stay in the light. She doesn't and is killed, I wrote, by Mary Shaw.
I know. I kept thinking the same thing. I kept having like, "What's her name?" I
just realized that I wrote down Mary Shaw. I did not do that.
So, is there any chance here that, because there is a lot of coincidences here, most in particular, two older women, name of M, get burned, all of that. Like, did James like get an opportunity to double dip in 2000 and whatever that year was, and he's like, I got an idea. This movie wasn't great, and I can do it better.
I mean, you never know.
You never know
where inspiration strikes.
Yeah.
Where darkness may fall.
Oh,
the bathtub scene is kind of sound design on that's really good, where she's crawling up the wall and then on top. Like that was cool. That was probably like the coolest scene in the movie, I thought.
His mom's dead. He runs back to the bedroom. Runs back to the bathroom, locks the door, hides in the shower. His bath toys include a Leonardo figure and two stones.
Classic.
Also, he's got bath toys. He's like 14. I would accept maybe 12, but still he's got bath toys.
Yeah.
He's making out with Emily Browning. You should not have bath toys anymore.
No. He's completely a rubber ducky. That's not natural.
Okay.
That's not good.
Tony laughed at that. Tony, you're fired. Get out of here.
So loud outside the bathroom. It's so loud outside the bathroom.
He hears a noise outside and starts to get up to check it out, but the door bursts open and we see that she is just floating above the door outside. Oh yeah, this is the shot that Tyler alluded to. That is
that nice tracking shot where it's pulling out of the bathroom.
The best shot in the movie.
Super dope.
The shot that probably like sold the movie.
The one storyboarded shot of the whole thing.
Yes. We start on his face in the light in the bathtub. We pull out through into the hallway and we see her spooky frame floating above.
That was cool.
So the director admitted that he realized that he did not think that he had to compose every shot until the night before shooting.
And he came up with that one that we just talked about, and that was it.
And he still makes major movies. See,
what is with dumb shits admitting stuff like that? Like, yeah, I didn't think I'd have to like think out every shot or anything. Yeah, you can say don't say that.
Seriously, is there like a Mort Liebesman who was on like he's a Paramount guy nobody remembers?
Somebody's nephew.
The one thing that really frustrates me about these types of movies is you have one fucking rule in horror, and that is you set rules and you fucking follow them. Because the reason the mother dies is because she catches a glimpse of the tooth fairy in the mirror. She has seen it and therefore must die. But like, it's so arbitrary. It's just arbitrary. It doesn't fucking matter. Just if you didn't have the rule, I wouldn't be mad. But because you have the rule, I'm angry. It's so dumb. It's such a dumb fucking rule.
Yeah. Again, you forget about it as you're watching the movie. You're like, oh, you're not supposed to look at her. But it's really dumb.
Even though they keep reminding us, every character says, don't look at her, don't look at her.
And that's the easiest monster to defeat. Even
just fucking walk away.
Just close your papers, boy.
Like, okay, so the tooth fairy is, if you're laying there under the sheet and you're like, fuck, that's Matilda, close your eyes and walk out of the fucking room. Even if you're bumping into walls, get out, go outside.
Right.
Let her get the tooth.
The Simpsons figured this out in a Treehouse of Horror segment, for Christ's sake. This can be solved in 8.5 minutes.
Right. Right.
Create a rule, stick to it, but then don't make the rule easy to break.
Yeah, Homer Simpson can think of it. You can.
Because then you're automatically making your characters the stupidest people on earth. Automatically.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Which is why it makes more sense if the tooth fairy is an actual like creature being that follows its own logic.
Yes.
And because where does it go during the day? It's probably holed up in some teeth cave. And like, so it would have been great if they had found this monster's location where it's sleeping during the day.
Yeah, no, there was going to be shots of the tooth fairy in a castle made of baby teeth, but that was far too expensive.
What the fuck is that? That sounds sick.
That's disgusting.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
it sounds gross, but
well, unfortunately,
awesome.
Trevor, they didn't have someone like you working on the fucking movie where they could get free
Liebesman,
teeth.
I take back all those horrible things I said 30 seconds ago.
No, don't take that. Don't take that. It's not Liebesman.
I got my fingers crossed behind my back.
Liebesman hasn't made anything good, and he had nothing to do with it.
Not a single thing, no. And they had $11 million.
Vanderbilt's ass we need to kiss. It's Vanderbilt's ass we need to be kissing more than Liebesman.
Yeah, they had $11 million, and they still couldn't make anything worth a fuck.
This was $11 million.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild.
Holy
because
fucking
of the reshoots
shit.
and you know the even though it dropped in January, you know they were really putting some money behind the advertising campaign. Because I remember
the ads.
I do remember the commercial.
I remembered wanting to see this, and my dad saw it, and he's like, "Nah, don't bother." And suck.
I didn't watch any of them though. Do any of the trailers mention that this is the fucking tooth fairy?
Yes.
They do.
I think so.
Okay. I was gonna say that seemed like a kiss of death if you were to say that out loud to people. Like,
yeah, I'm not going to go see the fairy movie. That's
gonna go see the tooth fairy movie this weekend, brah.
No, yeah, dude. I love
the world you live in where people talk like that in any way, shape, or form.
So to give some context to the audience,
yes,
11 million in 2003 or 2002 when it was shot is somehow not enough to make a decent movie then, but 10 million in 2018 to make the fucking Halloween movie. Are you fucking, there's no excuse. Shame on you.
Right.
They had Stan Winston make that whole fake
but
lady.
Then they didn't show it. But then they didn't show it.
They still paid for it though. That's still part of that 11 million.
The porcelain mask choice is, so she's wearing a porcelain mask. So that's the majority of what you see throughout the movie whenever they show her.
Yeah, it's not really a monster. It's a mask and a
It's
cloak.
a mask and some creepy eyes sometimes. But it's not a good choice. It just doesn't fit the motif of the film.
I will say this. The CGI or practical effects do hold up quite well. Other than the last shot of the thing getting burnt up. Like I thought it looked pretty good, especially with it zooming around and smashing into stuff. Like,
everything else looks decent.
Yeah.
It works for him.
Beef. Although since we're airing some beefs and some grievances, I want to say about
hang your beef, Ryan. Open the flap.
I go, here comes some beef. Back up, everybody. So here's the thing. The monster's kill method. We have this thing, it's called the tooth fairy. There's no mouth, no teeth ripping, no jaw ripping. There's no, at least with Mary Shaw, there was a thing. She's going to kill everybody the same way by tearing up this tongue. In this case, she just mauls you. She just picks you up and she kind of just beats you around a little bit, breaks your neck or your back, and then drops you. I mean, there's not even an interesting method of her dispatching.
No cool weapon.
So here's the thing. Before this is PG-13, She would have ripped off the jaw to get the teeth. And there would have been cool death scenes. But
See,
that was
there
all
you go.
chopped out. Yeah, that was all cut.
Sometimes Joe information sounds like things he heard from a kid smoking a Parliament light outside of the.
That was his Wikipedia until like
That's
2000.
Reddit, really. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where Joe gets all his life information.
Yeah, man, they were gonna rip the jaw out, and it was gonna show all the blood and the guts coming out. They would
Yeah,
show that, and Joe's like
I heard.
frantically writing it down, like, "Oh yeah, really?"
Okay, so cool. So fellas,
The IMDb
Oh my
forums are very
God.
reputable. I'm sorry, I had to get that out there.
Trevor's gonna
No,
die.
you didn't got to get that out there. It could have stayed in.
No, it's just a little line. It's fine.
the next morning, the cops are there, and the whole neighborhood's there watching the cops take Kyle away because they all think that he killed his mom because he's saying the tooth fairy did it.
Fair assumption, yeah.
Yeah, his friend, Caitlyn looks at him in the cop car, and it crossfades to her 12 years later, where she is now played by Emma Caulfield, who was most recently seen in WandaVision, I believe.
Yeah, WandaVision.
Oh yeah.
What was she in WandaVision?
She was Clea, the blonde lady that lived, one of the neighbors.
Oh, one of the.
Oh my
neighbors.
God, did she shrink over the years?
I think she did. She's
smaller.
super tiny now. She
Holy
looked really
shit.
tall in this movie.
Yes, she did.
But she is visiting her young brother, Michael. Also, how many times did he break his accent? Did you guys hear? Because
Oh,
I
I
heard,
heard
at
it a
least
lot. Yeah,
4 or
yeah.
5.
He was ADR'd by 8 different children. They just kept dying because all of the teeth were falling out.
That could have been
Yeah.
it too.
So the film was shot in Australia. Everybody in this, except for the 2 leads, are Australian. That's why the boy
Wow,
came
really?
copyright.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because we do have some coming up, some James Wan regular
Oh, right. Yeah.
from Australia. So I was, even though he's dubbed too.
Yeah.
So
But she's visiting her young brother, Michael, in the hospital. And the doctor tells us all about the boy. Basically, he hasn't been able to sleep in 3 weeks. So she brought him to the hospital. And
Sorry,
they-
quick question for the group.
Yeah.
Why brother? Why
I
brother
don't
and
know.
not son?
Because that means
I
she's
don't
single.
know.
She's available.
Yeah,
She
he
has
can
the
be available
ability.
and have a kid.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know, honestly. You guys keep saying 12, 14. There's nothing in this movie that tells me outside of the actor's age that these kids were like anything more than 9 or 10. So if you
Yeah.
look at it that way, 12 years later, maybe these characters are supposed to only be
Sure.
like 20, 21, which her having an 8-year-old brother.
Yeah.
it's
Oh, I
late life.
guess. Oh, God. Yeah, I
Because
didn't
I
put that
don't think
together.
those kids were supposed to be 15.
Could it not have been, I don't know, 13 years later? Like, did they have to go with that amount of time? Like, they could, I don't know. It just, it
it's
felt weird.
arbitrary.
Yeah, I have no
They just-
idea why
it's
they
random.
chose.
Well, Tooth Fairy only comes in every 12
Yeah.
years, and so you
I
can't
missed that
you
during
can't,
the monologue
can't
at the
look
beginning.
at her, and she if you smell her, then
If anything,
13 years have gone
that would be
by.
a great movie. Is a horror movie that's riddled with rules that don't make sense, and it gets really confusing, and you
Oh,
have
yeah.
to do math to figure out when
Right.
you're going to
But
get
also
killed.
the
Oh, Cube-
creature
Cube
or the
does that.
villain. Don't say Cube. I thought you were talking about Kubrick for some reason.
No,
I was
Cube-
like,
Cube,
please
the
tell me
movie
you
Cube,
haven't
they have
shortened
to
it.
solve
Yeah,
math
that's not
to
at
get
all
out
what
of
I was
death traps.
saying, though, Joe.
But what I want is like where the creature or the villain or whatever also doesn't know the rules. So they're like, it hasn't been, it's not a full moon. And it's like, no, but it says here in the bylaws that if it's not a full moon and it's a Tuesday, I can kill you. And they're like, unless that Tuesday falls
Right.
on,
Right.
on
Yes.
Verizon or
Yeah.
Honda
It's a
Days.
rape beer.
Yes.
Unless
Yes.
I'm wearing my lucky hat.
I want
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
You need to get an old British guy too, like an old
Yeah.
stage actor who delivers all this like
Yes.
exposition like so slowly and deliberately that you just fall asleep as you're hearing it, but
Yeah.
he's doing it
And
so
that's when he strikes.
gracefully. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I would have liked to see where Matilda's like, she's in the dark and she's not screaming. Like, no, you're okay. It's okay. The
Right.
dark is fine. Oh, fuck. I'm getting so confused.
Yeah, and alternating Tuesdays, it's in the light and then it's in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God.
And then she just sprays diarrhea all over her wall, and the
Wow.
diarrhea dissolves
Wow.
the wall. That's a new
Wow.
rule. She has acid diarrhea.
Oh my God, like a xenomorph. That's amazing. Can I pay you $8 million for the script?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hate that made me laugh.
So they ran every test known to man on this boy, and he's fine. Whatever. And then they hear him screaming. He's screaming! Help! And they run down and they get him and they run into his room where his shit ass nurse had the audacity to close the fucking blinds, and it got a little bit dark and he freaked the hell out.
Bad nurse. Imagine.
Stupid ass
Like,
nurse.
you-
This kid's
what a big-
the only thing he's here for is that he hates the dark.
Right.
Yeah.
And you
Right.
made it dark. What the fuck did you think was gonna happen?
It's ridiculous.
The audacity. This healthcare system is bullshit.
I just want super fast. His sister Kat promises that it'll be okay, and then we wipe to Vegas, baby, and then I'm out.
Okay.
That's the end of my bit.
There you go.
I have a script doctor note for this.
Yes.
This movie would be 100 times better if Michael does have in this movie some real deep existential lines about just letting the fucking thing take him.
Mhm.
What if this fucking 10-year-old kid was just like this curmudgeon, like the guy who just drinks himself to death? I don't even fucking care, guys. I don't even
Right.
care. Just let it come get me. And all the adults keep
Love
trying
it.
to protect him. So it put him at odds with Kyle, the man who grew up so terrified of this thing. And this kid's like, fuck it. I don't give a I'm not living like
Right.
this.
Well, that would also require some character development on Kyle's part to want to fight
True.
it, to want to
Yes.
battle it. And so, yeah, then they could have like butted heads. The kid's just like, no,
Yeah.
just let it take me. I'm
Yeah.
fine. It's as though it's seriously okay, guy.
I
And he's
love
like,
that.
no,
I
he's
love
gonna
that.
fight it. Yeah.
And interestingly, speaking of Kyle and with Dead Silence, where we had a character who, either because they didn't care or because they just had balls of steel, walked into dangerous situations and was trying to figure shit out, which is the character Ryan Quanten was in Dead Silence. But in this movie, Kyle is one of the biggest pussies
Yeah. Oh,
that
yeah.
we've had.
He's afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
He's he's not trying to do anything. He never tried to figure out a way to fight back. 12 fucking years. He's just been living with it and being like, well, just fucking
Yeah, he
hang
moves
out.
to Vegas where it's always light.
No thanks. I'll keep my nightlight. Thank
I
you.
did not put that together. I did
That's
not.
me neither.
Vegas with the lights.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. So the movie suddenly
I did like
cranks
that.
up.
Yeah.
Well, get this. So the movie suddenly cranks up iRock Radio. And we are rocking out some totally in your face 2000 alternative rock. I looked it up.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Look Out Below by Closure. They're from Canada. I looked up their video on YouTube. It's exactly what you think it is. Some of the comments on it are great. I can read them later if you want. We are showing the Las Vegas Strip, and somewhere in there is an apartment whose almost every square inch is covered with a light or a lamp or a spotlight. My first thought was that this guy must be one of those lizard owning guys, like pet
like a gecko,
lizard guys,
yeah.
super normal type of pet owner, you know. But he's not. The lights are covering the tables. They're hanging from the wall. There's extra ones coming from the ceiling. He's got rows of car batteries lining the shelves. He's got drop cords and extensions all over the floor. He's got baskets of used D batteries from all of his flashlights. Hey guys, he's going through D batteries like a bored housewife's vibrator.
Hey.
Because their husbands can't make them come.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like that rabbit runs fast.
Yep. And
All
not
right.
only, but in the same scene, not only are we treated to a refilling the flashlights montage, the music continues to rock out. We get a pill popping montage.
Hell
The guy is taking a ton of medication, a whole bunch of psych meds from what the labels say, a bunch of antidepressants.
Here is a commentary fun fact. One of the producers says that those are all real antipsychotics that his wife is on. And he used all the same,
What a
antipsychotics.
weird thing to say on
Yeah,
a
yeah,
commentary. Not a lot to talk about
So
the
the
movie.
director's wife? The director's wife?
One of the producers' wife, I guess, is on
So they
those four
brought in the pill,
antipsychotics.
they brought in the pill bottles and used those as
Not
props.
the real pill bottles, but they use the real drugs, like the names of the drugs and shit.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
Well,
shout
yeah,
out to Big Pharma. He's shouting out to Big Pharma.
Yeah.
You know?
Vegas from wherever the movie's set. I can't remember. Darkness Falls, Maryland, Maine, somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
yeah.
it wasn't originally called, the town wasn't called Darkness Falls. That was all added in post.
I
It was
believe
called
that.
Port
Okay.
Ferry.
Oh, I don't.
It
It was called what?
Port Ferry. Because
Port Ferry.
Because Tooth Fairy, whatever.
Sorry, that made me gag.
But this creature is willing to travel thousands of miles to get children from this town. Just say that he left because he doesn't want to be around it anymore, and he's compelled to go back because his youthful love asks for his help. Okay, so then fine. The Tooth Fairy will follow him to wherever he goes. If he was in the Marianas Trench, it would be there. But the thing is that how is this guy not so well adept at taking care of himself that he doesn't have to have a flashlight montage every fucking day to be ready? How is
Right,
his place
right.
just not prepared for that? It's so
Yeah.
fucking frustrating.
It's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird that he's made it this far and yet he still has to do
Yes.
these things.
Yeah.
And again, has no motivation. I mean, but if he hasn't seen it in this time, like he has no real reason to keep doing this either. Like, I don't know. It's very strange. He gets a phone call from his old crush and front door phobic friend, Caitlyn. Kyle has not seen or spoken to his old friend since the night his mother was killed. He's very confused and standoffish on why he's hearing from her. But she says, hey, bro, I finally learned how to go through the door. And oh wow, it's super weird. My little brother's having a hard time. He's in the hospital. He's afraid to go to sleep, saying crazy things. He's having night terrors. And oh, I suddenly remembered that my old bro Kyle used to have these same problems, and I was wondering how you got over it. And guys, Kyle did not get over it.
No.
So the camera flips around and we see the only wall in the apartment not covered in lights is instead covered in dozens and dozens of artworks depicting the porcelain face of his nightmarish tooth fairy.
Who started this? I need to get to the bottom of this. Who started this trend of you draw the thing that you're afraid of, and then you put it on your wall and you keep it there, so you're constantly scared? Who did it?
The Ring.
The Ring? Oh, I'm going to go wring its neck.
You could go back even farther, though. You go back even farther because in Close Encounters, he makes the mashed, but you know what I mean? He makes the hill over and over again. I think it's just supposed to be like a red flag for
but
obsession.
Specifically, the millions of drawings on the wall, I feel like is a newer.
Why would you ever do that? You don't want to see it. You don't want to see it,
Tyler.
And it's okay to do it once. But if it's not worked its way out of your system one time, what makes you think that drawing it another 200 times in different sizes, and he even makes there's charcoal etchings and there's some sculptures he's made of the face.
Paper mache.
It's not going away, buddy.
Well, and it's been 12 years, right?
12 years, yeah.
And maybe at some point he paints over those. You keep the light thing going, but eventually you think that you'd get over wanting to see it every day.
Right. The dude is obsessed. Like he needs to just move on. He's in Vegas. Have a great time. Go have a great time. Don't be worrying about this thing. Yeah, exactly. But he does. Kyle leaves the 60-watt safety of his apartment and he visits Kat's brother Michael at St. Francis Hospital.
Did anybody look closely at the establishing shot of this hospital?
No.
Oh, it doesn't look like a hospital.
No, it doesn't. It's some sort of it's a big building, but there is a glass facade added to the front of it, intentionally, something that will come up later.
Mm-hmm.
But it's frustrating because if you look for more than 2 seconds, one, you'll notice it's a fucking gravel road.
Right.
Two, it's a pair of double doors that go straight to some steps. There's no ramp there, so nobody's leaving in a fucking wheelchair.
No.
It's like, I get it. You guys built it because you wanted to break it. I like that type of stuff, but don't linger on that shot. You go get an exterior somewhere else at an actual hospital, and then you use your set that you built later to break.
Well, it threw me off too, because I was like, is this a hospital or is the kid already like in an insane asylum of some kind?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of rickety and old and it looks terrible. And I was like, this hospital looks like shit.
Honestly, it's
here.
probably an apartment building. What we're looking at in the actual movie, it's the exterior of an apartment building, and they built something at the front.
Where'd they build it, Joe?
Somewhere in Australia, I guess. I don't know. They never got into exactly where
1312 Australia Lane.
Yeah, they never mentioned the address. I'm sorry.
Great fact, Joe.
Oh my gosh, all of this talk about marsupials, and Joe waited till now to bring up the Australia connection.
I know.
Like,
oh yeah, well that's because he didn't know what a marsupial was.
It was down far.
I know what that is. It's a pouch. It's a pouched mammal.
And he does make a reference to Marsupials Howling 3, which is the Australian werewolf movie.
That's right.
Come on, Joe.
I don't be watching Howling 3. There's 9 of them. I'm not watching all that shit.
Actually, Howling 3 is considered pretty good, Joe.
Okay, that's fine.
Kyle finds Michael hiding in his hospital room and they bond over their lack of sleep. Kyle tries to comfort Michael by giving him one of his favorite flashlights. The Michael kid creepily tells Kyle that she won't come into the light and that you've seen her too. Freaks Kyle out. Michael tells Kyle that sometimes he thinks about shutting off all the lights. So this is the kid. The kid tells Kyle that he thinks about shutting off all the lights and just letting her take him and get it over with so he won't be scared all the time.
A better character if they had gone with that.
I think this kid is Hasbulla because I think he's an adult and the kid-sized adult. Because he's literally just like, Kyle's like, who are you talking about? He's like, cut this shit, Kyle.
Right, let's just do it. Yeah.
Honestly,
I love it.
I wish he was like Roger Rabbit. Is it Baby Huey or whatever the hell? He's smoking a cigar, smacking the nurse on the ass. He just doesn't care.
This kid is so wise before his time. He's just like, no, there's no getting away from this thing. Look at you fucking loser. You fucking live in Vegas, jerking off flashlights all day. Like, what are you doing? But Kyle doesn't think that way. He says, he's thinking this kid's emo as fuck. Kids need to stop listening to The Cure, maybe listen to some more Closure, a good band. Kid is a huge bummer. Kyle immediately regrets giving him his favorite flashlight. Caitlyn comes into the room through the door, by the way, guys, right through the door, not through the window.
I'm so glad. That's character growth.
She's
I
reformed.
do- now that you mention it, it'd be great if she came through every window
Every
in the movie.
scene in the window. I know.
God, that'd be awesome.
It's
That's
perfect.
because she's being hunted by a creature that only kills you if you go through the door.
Yeah.
Oh, she's in a different movie with a different monster with different rules.
Yeah,
In the
she
end,
goes-
when the monster's chasing him, she could have been like, "Hey, Michael, I know a way out. She'll never think of it." And then they could have went crashing through the window. Like, it would have been awesome.
So good.
But Caitlyn sees him's like, "Oh, so good to see you. Let's talk about the night your mother was murdered," and they chat a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. So basically, sorry, I'm trying to catch
You're
up to
taking
Tony.
the Joe route of not realizing it was your turn.
Oh, sorry, I should have said something. It was
No,
my bad.
You're good. So basically, all we're learning is that Kyle's catching up and he's realizing that this is the same situation that he was facing. So now he has a renewed interest in Michael, except he doesn't because he leaves
You don't.
and Katie follows him. And she's like, "Wait, are you going to do anything about this?" He's like, I just don't think I can help your kid or your brother. And then, sorry, I wrote a joke in here. Then suddenly they're interrupted by Russell Crowe's character from Michael Mann's The Insider.
Wow, Larry sucks.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to be figuring this out
Insider.
as we go. Hopefully you guys will help me. We meet Larry, the local defense lawyer, who may be in a relationship with Katie or is pining for Katie because he puts his arm around her.
Yeah.
Joe, is there
Yeah.
anything about this guy? Because he's a kid in
yeah,
the
he's
beginning.
in basically like there's like a lot of like he was everybody in this is gonna get backstories. Like he would be like one of the boys who did the teeth ritual, and so now that's why it's going after him. But as it is now, there's really he's maybe in it for like 10 minutes, and this character doesn't really do much.
He's just a
he's-
town loser. He's just a town loser.
It would have been interesting if at the beginning when Kat mentioned someone telling or saying asshole to a teacher, if it was him.
If it was
So that it's like, oh, he's one of the gang.
Because this guy's coming out of nowhere.
yeah, Larry just blindsides the entire audience.
Yeah.
I
Where's
thought
Larry?
Larry was the kid at the beginning when
It is.
Kyle's being arrested. With
He
the
is
little
there.
girl.
That's the same one.
He is there, but he doesn't say anything. There's no
Yeah,
like
he serves
reason
no
to believe he's not
purpose.
just a neighborhood boy.
So get used to Larry being a vessel to
Yes.
move the plot, which it barely moves. And so it's
Right.
fucking frustrating because I think the only reason he puts his arm around Katie is to establish that he likes her, and therefore that's the reason why she might have called him to confide in him, that she also reached out to Kyle.
Right.
Because he's there because Kyle's there. And then he asks Kyle, "Hey, is everything going to be okay with this girl's brother?" And it's like, why the fuck would you ask that, Larry?
Right.
You don't belong here, Larry. How did you get in the
Larry's-
hospital, Larry?
Larry sucks. Larry sucks.
Yeah, he does suck. So anyways, he starts asking intrusive questions. He's like, "Let's all go out for dinner. It's on me." For some reason, Larry wants to get the gang back together.
Read the room, Larry.
Larry, come on, you third wheel motherfucker, get out of here.
Well, Katie immediately opts out and says, "No, I'm good. I'm staying here with Michael." And so he turns to Kyle. He's like, "Hey, come on. Let's go get drinks. We're going to catch up." Cut back to Katie. She's at Michael's bedside. "Is Michael going to come, or is Kyle going to come back? I hope Kyle doesn't leave because I have these night terrors and he has the night terrors."
This kid loves Kyle all of a sudden.
Yeah,
It's
he does.
so weird.
There was a scene cut out where they bond over. Basically, both of them can detect whenever a light is about to turn off because there's a low buzzing sound.
What kind of
do you
shitty
mean,
power is that? That is the
Lightman?
worst superpower ever that I've ever
That's
heard of.
They can
weird.
hear a low buzzing.
I actually
That's
like
so
that.
weird.
I like the
Outta
idea.
here.
Take the buzzing out of it. I just like the idea that they both know when the lights are going to go out. Because I
so
like the idea.
random.
That is kind of funny.
They're like moths.
There's a whole montage in Mystery Men where they're looking through different people. Dane
Yes,
Cook shows up
yes.
as the waffler. That sounds like someone who'd show up in that.
Yeah.
Right. He'd be great at Broadway shows. I think it's going to start. It's going to start. It's going to start.
Trust me.
It's gonna
Trust me.
start. Put your
Oh,
phone where it's
God.
going to start. How do you know, Kyle? I just know. Just
I can hear it.
Told
I
you.
hear it.
Told you.
Well, Michael looks out the window longingly like he's holding in a couple gallons of diarrhea. Sunset, loud music. We're at a bar.
Oh, yeah.
Larry and Kyle are at a table, and he's insisting that he needs to drink. He needs to drink, but Kyle produces his own medication, thus proving he should not be drinking. So Larry doesn't take the fucking hint and goes up
Peer
to
pressure.
the bar to
Yeah, you
get
can have one
some
beer, come
drinks.
on.
I would hate to go drinking with Larry.
Oh,
Nothing
absolutely.
would upset me more than having to go sit with Larry.
Everything about this scene establishes that Larry isn't even wanted at this bar.
No, nobody likes Larry.
No.
So
And-
why come here? Why not go to an Applebee's or
Well,
somewhere?
this is where the cool boys hang out.
get some product placement. I would have felt more comfortable if Applebee's was in this
Larry
movie.
seems like more like a Applebee's guy. Like, hey Kyle, you had the apps. You got to get the app sampler. You want to split one? Like,
they're sharing riblets. It would have been wonderful.
right.
Oh, if you have a $4
Shut up, Joe. Shut up. It's not going to be as good.
Sorry.
No, he could have done a bit. They're having the riblets, and Larry bites down and cracks a tooth.
Oh,
And
see,
fucking
oh,
Kyle
yeah.
gets- oh shit, gets all
Loses
worked.
his mind.
Yeah, where's my
And-
last baby tooth?
Seeing the blood come out, and he just gets out of tooth, and Larry just blows it off like, oh fuck, you know, whatever, no big deal. But Kyle's like, oh shit.
you couldn't go to the Applebee's in this movie though, because Applebee's are bright as hell.
Yeah. Yep.
It seems like the Tooth Fairy could just walk into the bar that they're in right now.
Yeah,
Yes,
they just funny. They go into a
absolutely.
very dimly lit
Saddle up
plate.
to the bar, order a Miller Lite, and just
Turn to the redneck. Hey, that's Kyle, the guy who killed his mom.
I'm
You
gonna
wanna
kill him
fight him?
later. Kyle, I'm gonna kill you later.
The moment Larry gets up from the table to go get the drinks, somebody in the background shouts, "Long time no see, Walsh." And it's like,
so weird.
yes, because he left when he was a child. How
Yeah.
would you
Yeah.
know that that's him?
Again,
Yep.
not,
Okay,
not
so-
leaning into the mythology
Oh,
that they've
Joe's
set
got
Here's
something.
the info. Here's the info.
Joe's got it.
Fuck
This
yeah.
guy. This is
So-
like this is like the cantina. This guy's got his own backstory, his own wacky adventures.
So originally, this was not supposed to be a monster movie. This was supposed to be a psychological thriller. It was
Get the
shot as a
fuck outta here with that
psychological
shit. Get outta here
thriller.
with that
And
shit.
basically, you were supposed to waffle throughout most of the movie of whether or not Kyle was actually insane and killed his mother, or if there's a real tooth fairy. So this guy, Ray, he's the kid that Kyle stabbed in the beginning of the movie that got cut out. And that's why he's fighting with Kyle, because he got stabbed by him as a boy.
Okay.
Well, did they shoot that scene of Kyle stabbing the kid?
I believe they shot it, yeah, but like most of like the shit is not on the DVD. Like the original like Tooth Fairy design is not in the DVD. Like I think the studio probably said, "Hey, we're not showing any of this shit."
Well, I'm just saying because
I just love the idea. It's
Some memo going out.
It's a limo that has like 30 wheels on it. It pulls up.
This is
like
Mad Max.
80 executives walk out all at once, and synonymously at the same time they all say, "This shit will not be in the movie. This will not be in the movie. We are executive of studio. This will not be in movie."
just picking things up. This will not be in the film. This points out a guy. You will not be in the film. This cup, not in the film. This camera, not in the film. And it cuts to a different angle.
Oh, I got a good bit whenever the cat jumps on the car.
Oh, I bet you
Yeah,
do.
that's
Good,
good.
good. We're
Looking
waiting with
forward,
anticipation.
to that.
Okay, some good info.
But yeah, but Kyle says he doesn't want to drink, but he gets one anyway, doesn't he?
Well, Larry goes up to the bar, and there are two guys sitting there who are like 12 glasses deep already. And one of them, Ryan, take the reins.
One of them is played by Mr. Angus Sampson, who would later become one of the beloved ghost hunters from the Insidious James Wan created Insidious series. He would also be the organic mechanic in Mad Max Fury Road and the upcoming sequel or prequel.
If that Mad Max movie gets made, I will shit a brick.
Oh, it's being shot right now, man.
Yeah, being shot.
My man, Warner Brothers ain't gonna do no shit
Wow,
like that.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Warner
Yeah,
Brothers
that-
ain't doing no shit like that right now.
Warner Brothers is currently scrapping everything that George Miller has planned, and they're adding a tooth fairy into it.
Right. When George Miller dies, we will get to see clips of the canceled Mad Max.
I think it will. Because I think George Miller has the pull, and it was an Oscar thing, and that's
his
what this,
genie
this
movie ain't
asshole
doing so
wants.
good, bro. His genie movie ain't doing so good.
Well,
No,
nobody was
no.
gonna. That movie was never gonna do good.
Yeah.
Is there a genie in my pocket?
Okay, Joe killed it. All right.
Thank you.
So Larry's at the bar.
He says thank you.
There's two drunk guys, including Angus. And Angus is the guy that Joe was talking about that was possibly stabbed in a cutting room floor piece of shit. And anyways, he starts asking Larry, "Hey, or he says something like shitty, like, who's your boyfriend or your date?"
Who's
And-
that pretty looking shitty boy over there?
And Larry, being a piece of shit, is just like, "Oh yeah, that's fucking Kyle Walsh. You remember Kyle Walsh? Kyle
What a
Walsh."
wiener. What an absolute wiener this guy is.
Yeah. Larry goes back to the table and he brought Kyle a drink still, but it's okay. It's a light beer.
Light beer.
I
Light
guess
beer.
maybe some people laughed. And then Larry continues his awful conversations. And he's like, "Hey, why you should have told me you were coming back to town." And Kyle's like, "Yeah, I don't fucking care. I don't like you." And then Larry's like, "Well, you left a lot of shit behind, Kyle." And it's like, that means nothing to me because you mean nothing to me, Larry.
Right.
And then the drunk guys, we cut back to them and they're like, "Hey, that's Kyle Walsh. Yeah, he killed his fucking mom. What a fucking weirdo." And then we're back to Larry, who's asking more probing questions. And we learn that Kyle works in the gaming industry, which I don't know. Since he's in Vegas, does that mean like gambling?
Oh, yeah, they call it
yeah,
gaming. They
yeah,
do call
which is
gambling
such-
gaming.
Which is such a like. Why wouldn't you write in that he works fixing the lights on the casino? Like, he changes the lights.
Yeah.
Like that seems
He
much
makes
more
neon lights.
That would have sold it so
Originally,
much
he was going to
more
work in a 7-Eleven.
if he was screwing in light bulbs on like the fucking Welcome to Vegas sign,
Yes.
and it was like super bright. And then
that
he has a
rules.
partner
He's
with
protected.
him.
He's
He has a partner
protected.
with him. He's like, "Hey, dude," he's like shielding his eyes. He's like, "Man, you didn't have to double the lumens."
And like he's such a hard ass. His other guys like wearing eye protection and stuff, but like
Yes.
Kyle's just staring on it head on because
Like Kyle's eyes are always kind of crusted over and stabbed.
burnt up. They're just burnt up. He's
That's
staring at
real
lights all the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
He also
God.
he shaved off his what is it? Riddick did? They said he like shaved his eyeballs so he could see in the dark or whatever in pitch black.
Stupid.
Yeah, he did something like that so he could just fucking see, just stare right into thousands of lumens.
Great. But yeah, Larry
There's so
sucks.
much you could have done with this concept.
Well, anyways, Larry continues the conversation, and then like we start getting the Tooth Fairy bullshit. The lights are kind of flickering and waving. There's shadows zooming around the room. It gets really loud in there. People are spilling shit. And Larry, you can hear in the background, it's kind of got like that garbled audio. I really care about Katie and something Katie, and like you shouldn't do this to Katie. And it's like, we get it, Larry. You like Katie. And then boom, here comes Angus. And he confronts Kyle. He's shoving him around. He's bringing up the past, and he dumps Kyle's light beer on him. So Kyle, being the bigger man, walks out. He just fucking leaves. I appreciated that.
Right.
And Angus is like, yeah, fuck that guy. Hey, that's Kyle Walsh and the Tooth Fairy and my mom, or you're his mom.
But like Tyler, like why? Why does Angus Ray like give a
have
shit?
no
Is it some
I
like
don't
hometown
know. It's
justice?
because he got stabbed.
Yeah.
But
Originally, it was
but
because
that cutting
all
room
that shit was
bullshit
cut.
aside, like cutting room bullshit aside, like in the movie that we watched, like why does he give a shit other than just being like the hometown bully?
He was banging Kyle's mom.
You see, Kyle left town and he went to the big city. And Angus never did anything with his life. And he's been drinking himself to death with
Larry.
Well, not with Larry, but his shaved head buddy, who may actually be his boyfriend.
He could be.
And he's just so miserable.
Yes.
And
Hates his life. Hates his life.
But I thought the same thing though. I was like, that to be so like, okay, so we're all from a small town. If somebody had, in our childhood had killed their mother, and then we happened to see them grown up in a bar, we might have been like, that's kind of creepy. We're not going to fight him for it.
And in the towns we're all from, most likely has happened in our lives. We've seen murderers in public. It's no big deal where we come from. It's just like
true. There was a kid in my class who shot a kid in the head across the street from the high school.
Buy him a beer when you see him at the bar.
And he's out, man. He's a college graduate and he's out and about. It's just one of those things. Like Stand By Me, he had a crazy childhood.
You just get bored when you're in a home when you stay home, and then so anytime a big city boy comes into town, you just have to fight him. It's like a rule.
To fight him.
You have to fight the city boy when he comes.
But what if Angus would have said something about, I lost my mom, but they bring an emotional aspect into it where it's like, you had a perfectly good mother and you killed her. My mother was taken from me, and you just
But that takes 5 seconds, and it would have explained everything. You know what I mean? Like just do it.
That's why it's so weird. That's why I asked Joe if they shot that opening scene, because in my mind, if they had not shot it and had been cut out before they started shooting, then that scene made no sense. They should have come up with some other reason for that guy to bully. But if they had shot that scene already, and these were choices made in the editorial, then I was like, well, I guess they got nothing else to do. They have to keep that scene in because that leads to it's a plot. It's a fucking plot point.
And like Tyler just said, like he goes outside, and then that peels like another onion off. Like, oh, outside in the dark, are you like? I didn't think about that before. He goes outside, and he seems a little freaked out. And I was like, oh, I guess like maybe he doesn't ever go outside, and like because it's dark everywhere. Like again, I didn't think about that. It doesn't mean it's good. It just means it's poor storytelling. But like
without a doubt.
For a second there, I was just like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Like outside is fucked for him after dark, So.
Well, Kyle exits the bar directly into the Louisiana swamp. It's so confusing because we don't get an establishing shot of the bar. We just cut directly into it, and then he exits, and it's like somebody's shitty, like garbage-filled porch. And then there's just all these trees with shit hanging from it. It looks weird. It's just a weird juxtaposition from where we were. And then he's standing at the porch. He's like leaning against the railing. He's looking out into the forest. And then boom, here comes Angus. He bum rushes him over the railing. They roll down a hill.
Fucking tackles
They're
him.
on top. The
Like
bar's
a
on top of a mountain.
WWE
I'm pretty
match.
sure.
And he starts wailing on Kyle, and then Kyle gets some hits in, and Angus is a little disoriented, and he looks up into the trees, and we see Tom Cruise from Eyes Wide Shut just like lingering up in the treetops. That's the Tooth Fairy and the mask is what I'm saying, the porcelain mask. And then Kyle says, "Fuck this shit," and he just literally starts sprinting. He runs out of there. And then the drunk guy, he gets up, he's shouting into the woods. He declares that he's the owner of the woods.
He's the owner of the woods. These are my woods.
And then he is just
He does say that, doesn't
lifted up into the trees. And then again, like none of this makes sense
What
because
is the rule? Why did he get killed? Why did she kill him?
Well,
there's a second shot. There's like a 1 second shot where like he looks over and he sees it.
And he sees her. All right.
Yeah, so the very loose rules of this movie is Matilda is always around the corner when it comes to Kyle.
I thought she was protecting Kyle. Like that's why I
that
thought
could
that
have been.
Yeah.
And that
this
could
is
have been a
clicking
fucking
for
great
me.
thing.
This is clicking for me what Joe's saying. This movie was truly just about a group of people who did a tooth thing and got into some weird pact, and then were going to get hunted until they were adults. But instead, they scrapped that, whether it was halfway through filming or whatever. And so they had to ADR in and reshoot some stuff to say, oh, it's not just about the teeth. It's also about if you see her. So she comes for the teeth, but if you see her, so then they can explain why Angus gets killed. They can explain why Larry gets killed and Matt gets killed. Oh, that's so annoying.
Yeah. Because they explained, like, they reshot half the film, and then after test screenings, they reshot some more, so... It's just a jumbled mess.
Yeah.
Anyways, it doesn't help because then we cut from Kyle running away and Angus getting lifted up into the trees to Larry just being with the police in the woods.
Immediate manhunt for Ray.
Yeah. This city, their police are on point.
They're ready to roll. There's a fight
Larry's
at the
the only
bar.
attorney in town, so he's always
Let's go.
Larry's out there with the police. They hear some screaming. It's clearly Angus getting torn to pieces. The police spread out. Larry stays back with his dinky flashlight, and I'm out.
The cops are the cop Matt. He goes to investigate these strange noises they're hearing in the woods. Larry stays back. Then he starts acting like a real pussy. He's getting all worried, and then all of a sudden, Ray's fucking corpse, Angus, falls down from the tree on top of him, and he's like, "Oh, get it off me! Get it off me! Get it off me!" Meanwhile, Caitlyn is back at the hospital and sitting with Michael, and she's doing some research in a book titled "Fairy Fables."
There's enough of the tooth fairy lore to be put into a book. This town has supposedly lived with the tooth fairy legend its entire existence. The unwillingness for anybody to believe what Kyle says or even entertain it again.
Oh, and it's heavily implied that more children have gone missing over time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's absolutely an Elm Street cover-up.
Oh yeah, this is the second movie in a row where we've had that.
Mm-hmm.
So then Caitlyn is she's washing her face and she's startled when Kyle shows up. Yeah, she looks in the mirror, nothing there. You know the bit. She looks down, she looks back up, and boom, there's Kyle, and she goes, "Oh no!" Then she's like, "Ooh, it's Kyle." But Kyle's rough, man. Kyle's looking rough because he just got into that fight with Ray. She begins to administer some aid to him, and she actually says the line, "I need to try to get this gravel out of your scalp."
Amazing.
That was a great.
That sounds like a band that Joe would front. Scalp Gravel.
Yeah.
Joe must be shitting right now.
He's
No, I'm not shitting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shitting.
That's the first single from Scalp Gravel.
Yeah.
I'm not shitting.
Yeah. Ain't on the toilet, ain't making mud, ain't shitting blood.
What happens
good
after
stuff.
she takes the
Yeah.
What happens if she takes the gravel out of his head?
Well, she says, "Hey, why don't you tell me about the last 12 years of your life in 25 words or less?" So he basically says, and I didn't count the words, but if he did 25, there you go. He said he was in a foster home. He moved to Vegas. Now he works in casinos. And then he goes, "Are you and Larry going out?"
Real worried about it.
And part of me thought to myself, well, maybe there's some Arrested Development here. He's still that whatever 9-year-old boy, 10-year-old boy that he was sitting on the bed.
A much better movie, a much better character development. Yes.
Because, that's how I thought the whole, are you still going out? He would be, kind of trapped in that.
We get a shot of him in a hotel playing in the bathtub with a Ninja Turtle.
Ninja Turtle. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, he's showering like an adult, but he's got like the rubber ducky and like Leonardo and just
He's
slapping them
showering
together.
like an adult. What does
Yeah.
that even mean?
Go on.
Kids
Go
can't
on.
shower.
Like
yeah,
adults
yeah.
do.
Ryan, Caitlyn's not really dating.
God, I hate this so
Larry,
much.
is she?
Yeah,
Caitlyn's
she's
not really
not,
dating.
right?
What is the energy we've brought to the recording today?
Well, I'll be honest with you. She gives some word salad. I don't know if she's with Larry or not. She kind of
It is
dodges it.
confusing. Yeah.
She dodges it a little bit. I think she's with Larry.
I don't
think they're
think
at first
she
base.
is.
I think a little bit tongue kissing.
I think that Larry. I think Larry has clung to her, and she hasn't said no yet.
A real ducky situation.
And she's thinking
a real
about it. I
ducky
think she's
situation.
Real
thinking about
Millhouse Lisa type deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still evaluating whether or not she's going to go full door girl. She's
Right.
still got that window cracked open.
Yes.
She yearns for the window.
Yes.
Yeah. There's their
The
moment in
windows
the
are for
Jeep
youth.
towards the end of the movie where she touches Kyle's hand, and that window opens up a little bit more.
There we go.
Oh,
There we go.
yes.
Actually, it opens wide because the fucking tooth fairy takes the doctor out of the car.
Oh, yeah.
He then tells, or Kyle then tells Caitlyn, don't let the doctors give Michael all these too many tests. They did that to me. They gave me a lot of tests. Doesn't do shit.
Mhm.
Then the cops show up and say, Kyle Walsh, come with us. Down at the police station, Kyle is questioned by the sheriff on his various needs for flashlights and all of his antipsychotic meds. He's, the sheriff doesn't like him, doesn't believe him. And Kyle's being very forthright. It's a tooth fairy. He's not trying to hide it. It's a tooth fairy, Again, the Arrested Development. He doesn't think to kind of cover his own ass and just be quiet.
Yeah, you would think at his age that he would realize that he has to come up with a better lie. In the last 12 years, come up with anything but it's the tooth fairy.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
trick ain't
yeah.
working for you this
Also,
time. bud.
I do want to point out, I wrote down the interrogation scene as the good cop, dad cop scene because, like, it's very much brought up that it's like, in there, right, Dad? We're the best cops. And they're like, high five.
All right, where the hell am I? Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
who
good
knows?
cop,
Who
bad cop.
cares? Are we done yet?
Yeah, just
almost.
about.
I'm so
Almost.
sick of this fucking movie.
So I'm almost done with my part. So
Oh my
the sheriff tells Kyle that Ray is dead, and he shows him some photos. 2003. I don't know how quickly they developed these photos. It is like 10
police.
minutes.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes, and they're full color, they're beautiful photos.
They got a
Of,
Walgreens down the street.
I was going to say, right? If Ray dead. Then the sheriff harasses him about his mother's death and his various suicide attempts. He requests then to call his lawyer, and then he's put into a jail cell. Caitlyn is at that time, she pulls in front of the hospital and sits in her car. She gives herself a pep talk, and which is interrupted by a screeching black cat that is thrown under the hood. Joe, you said you got a fucking joke. Let's hear it.
Well, it's not a joke. It's info. Like, originally, there was going to be scenes with a nurse who is taking care of cats, and that segues into the black cat jump scare.
Did they want to do like a season of a TV show? Because there is so much information that you're telling us.
Did
Yeah.
Mike Flanagan write this?
That's
before
what
anyone
I'm
knew
like.
he was?
Is this could be a
42
Netflix show?
characters. It's like Midnight
Right.
Mass. There's like 32
Yeah.
characters in a small town. We're
And
spending
we
time
got the nurse who's got the cats, and then it's the dad and the son of the cops, and like, come on.
But yeah, there was going to be like a lot of scenes of like cats hanging around the hospital and her like feeding them, I guess.
which has nothing to do with tooth fairy lore. That's the end of my segment.
I kind of felt bad for Caitlyn when she was giving herself a little pep talk because it was like,
Yeah.
that was like the first time I was like, oh, I guess the parents are
She's
taking
really
care of
bad.
this kid. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
where
Like,
are
she's,
their parents? Are they dead?
yeah.
Kyle
like-
killed them.
Yeah, probably.
Kills
Mhm.
everybody.
It
Kyle
makes
Kid.
as much sense as anything else in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Caitlyn goes into the hospital and the nurse is like standing at the door and she's like, Michael, get out of there, Michael. And Caitlyn's like, don't worry, I'm going to do this. And she tries to bust down first she tries the handle on the door. So Michael's locked himself in there and she tries the handle like the nurse wouldn't have tried that first.
Right.
And then
Right.
she starts
Stupid
trying.
nurse.
This fucking idiot nurse. Well, then again, is this the same nurse who shut the
Could be.
curtains on him?
I think it is.
Could be.
Young,
Oh yes, it is.
Kat tries to break down the door, realizes she can't. Luckily, there's a fire extinguisher nearby, and that's the door's kryptonite because she hits it twice and it just pops right open. She goes inside, and there in the bathroom is Michael sitting there on the ground in the shower, and he's got blood on him. Are we to assume this was a suicide attempt, or was he attacked by
It looks
the tooth
like
fairy?
a slit wrist. I think maybe
Well,
the boy
but
tried to off himself.
But he slit the top of his wrist if he did it. Like, I'm not saying the kid's an idiot. I'm just saying like he might be an idiot if that's the case. I don't know. I can't tell what
that's
this was
pretty
supposed
dark if they were going to do that.
to be. Right. Like, and at first that's what I thought it was, but then I was like, I don't know. It doesn't.
Well, the
I don't think it
doctor
ever
says
comes up, right?
the doctor says that he made markings to like go along with his visions or this
Yes,
idea he has in his
yes.
head. because they look like claw marks down the top of his arm.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
it's like, I don't think it's like a suicidal thing.
Okay, good.
I think they would be like, oh no, he needs to make it so real that this thing
Right.
attacked him and he cut himself.
Right.
It's still just dumb. And these doctors
is.
are dumb.
It is.
Right.
Unlike what Larry says, who says we got some of the best doctors in this fucking hospital.
Well, you know,
Fuck you,
Larry's
Larry.
a townie.
Shut
Larry's a
the
townie.
fuck up, Larry.
Yeah.
He's the only attorney in town. He's part of the commerce.
He's
you know,
at every home football game every Friday night.
Oh,
yeah, he is.
yeah.
He loves the
doing
town.
50-50 raffle.
Question.
Yeah.
What is the name of the Darkness Falls high school football team?
Oh man,
That was not in the commentary. I'm sorry.
Shadows.
The Shadows. That's
I was
it.
thinking
No,
something with teeth, but yeah, shadows.
The
work.
Shadows are good.
The bristles, the brushes.
Ah.
The
That's a
molars,
great.
fighting
That's
molars.
great.
All right.
That's great.
Grind mighty molars, mighty molars.
Yeah, there it
Darkness
is.
Falls, Mighty Molars.
That's their hockey team.
Starting lineup. Yeah.
He's also got a little thumbs up going on. If you notice, he's like giving her a thumbs up, like, "Hey, we good? Don't worry, sis. Fought her off. Found the light. It was in the bathroom."
I just gotta flip the switch.
Right. Easy.
Yeah. So we cut to the next day, and the doc's basically like, "Look, I'm fucking done with this kid. We're putting him
bullshit.
like he thinks darkness is
kid
bad. Wait till
fucking
we're putting him in a tank and throwing away the key."
Hey, wait till we deprive all his senses.
Okay, can we get this deprivation tank thing out of the way?
Oh, it's an MRI machine.
Yeah, it's an
not
MRI machine.
It's
I was expecting like altered states with this little
Right.
kid.
Yeah.
He's in some fucking MRI machine.
No, it would be like sliding him into a refrigerator box and closing it up. Like, I
Yeah.
don't
Right.
understand.
Right.
Face the darkness, child.
Yes.
Well, yeah, they lost funding, and they just are calling every room that doesn't have a big light. They're calling that the sensory
That's where they
deprivation
spent
tank.
$3 million of the budget was to get this MRI machine.
Well, they had to
Right.
buy one. Like, well,
Right.
yeah, we don't know. We can just go. So no, we gotta buy one. We gotta assemble it. We gotta hire a technician to work the damn
The
thing.
original child actor had metal fillings and it ripped his fucking face off at the MRI machine. That's
Yeah,
why they
one
had
of
to
them
reshoot
adamantium
it.
skeletons.
Yeah.
In lieu of overtime, they said, well, everybody, instead we can't afford overtime. We've gone over budget, $11 million on this movie, but everybody's going to get a free on us 15 minutes in the MRI.
Yeah.
MRI.
Fucking crews lining up like, hey,
A free
would
ride in the
take
MRI machine.
I would
I
take that
want
in
to
a
go
heartbeat.
again.
I
I want to
want
go again.
Joe's brains outside his head.
Yeah.
Joe just has to MRI his butt.
This man
Here's
is
the
dead.
problem. You're inside out. So Doc's like, we're gonna put him in the dark and see if he's okay. And then we go back to prison. Kyle's getting let out, right? Because Larry paid his bail, right? Is that what it is, or just got him out?
What a chump.
I fucking
Larry's
care.
Well, that's
Fucking
his lawyer.
Larry.
That's his,
What a
that's his
chump.
lawyer.
It's his lawyer, but he gets him out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait,
he
wait,
does.
wait, wait.
Or
What?
talks him out of it. You remember he says,
Oh,
remember
that's right.
he says, I got to call my lawyer.
I
Yeah.
thought that he was joking.
That's Larry. No, he ends up calling Larry because that's the only lawyer.
He just says later that like you have to
Yeah.
remain in my custody or whatever. Yeah.
But then Larry complains, is like, "Hey man, they let you out on under my watch or something." And
Yeah,
it's like,
supervision or something. Yeah.
I'm not
Also,
familiar
Larry-
with that.
Larry has to be the dumbest lawyer of all time because he
Nobody
immediately
respects
takes him
Larry.
to a gun store.
Yeah. Nobody respects Larry in this town.
No.
And they shouldn't.
No.
No. And the whole reason Larry's doing any of this is because he wants to stay in Caitlyn's good graces.
Yes.
He doesn't give a shit.
He's simping hard.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit about even Michael. He's just got to show, hey, I bailed this guy out because Caitlyn, he may be able to help your brother, and I'm a good lawyer, and I'm a nice guy, ain't I?
Mhm.
So as soon as we wrap this up and get the fucking nutcase back to Las Vegas, yeah, we'll get together. That's his
Caitlyn, if
whole
I get your
motive.
boyfriend out of prison, will you show me one of your boobs?
Will you open the window for me? You can come in my window, Caitlyn.
The cops won't give him his flashlights back, and he's like, "Fine, we'll go get new flashlights." Goes to the gun store.
Why won't they? Why have they
'Cause they're
confiscated
dicks.
his flashlights?
They suck.
That's evidence. That's belongs to the police now. They get to sell it later.
Yeah, but
It's
what is the
evidence.
flashlights gonna prove?
I want to get this out of the way. I want to get this out of the way, okay?
Okay.
Hit me with it.
The light fucking shit doesn't make any sense in this
No.
movie.
No.
There's so
No.
much ambient light everywhere. There's constant thunder
Yeah.
or lightning clashing, and you see the face of the thing get lit up, and it doesn't get affected by it. So
Yeah.
why the fuck? And this chode is running around with a bag filled with
Yeah.
flashlights. Just get one flashlight and backup batteries.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
more.
Get
Needs more.
a flashlight with like a whole bag of batteries. Well, and there's a part later where it's like, so there could be like the biggest light source flashing this fucking Matilda in the face, and she's just like doing her thing. But then there's a part where the kid pulls out a fucking glow stick, and it's like,
Yeah.
maybe this will do it.
Right,
I'm just like, what the fuck?
That's ridiculous.
When he went to get new flashlights, I secretly wanted like kind of like a shit talking, like or like a dick measuring scene of like two guys, like him haggling with the store owner to like flashlight knowledge. I wanted him to drop like like in Lost Boys where the kid goes in the comic store and then they talk shit to each other. I wanted that scene, but like with flashlights, like how many lumens is that? Like, well, yeah, they took that off the market. You can't get that anymore. I got one. Like, you know what I mean? Just some real...
I'd love that.
Because instead we kind of get the Terminator scene.
We just kind of get the exact scene from Terminator.
Feels like a gun store, except with it does feel absolutely like that, except he's buying mostly flashlights at the time. But you got this guy behind the counter who's like,
he's loading back up though. He's loading back up.
Yeah. And the gun store clerk, he's like, "Hey, don't you also want a gun, guy?" And guy's like,
"Flashlights."
Guy's giving a hard sell here.
Yeah,
like
I wasn't planning on it, but I'll take a gun.
It's like when you're at the
trick for me.
Yeah, when you're at the grocery store and they're like, "You want to round up for the schools? Hey, do you want to round up and get a gun?"
Absolutely.
Do you want to supersize your purchase at the gun store?
You know, I guess I could use some more grapes and a new Magnum.
Do you think that's what Australia thinks of America? Do you think that's why this whole
That's kind of what America is in some
it's
places.
Where we are, though.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You buy 15 flashlights, you get a free pistol.
You get a free pistol.
Yeah. This movie takes place in Liberty City, right?
Yeah, of course.
I really wish there'd have been a moment. I wish it was, maybe it was like a prepper store. And then on the way out, Larry goes, "Well, hold on a minute." He grabs an MRE. He's like, for later.
We're going to get hungry chasing that tooth fairy.
He's just eating freeze-dried beef stroganoff.
I may need a snack on the road.
Well, because you do get so you get a little, so you see the attendant walks away and kind of like looks at the gun, looks at the keys, and it's like, "Ooh, maybe." But then we cut to Larry, he's touching guns and they're making noise. And he's like, "Ooh, I'm Larry." And it's like, cool, good for you.
Why didn't he just buy a gun? Like,
don't know.
He's not allowed to have guns.
In the next scene, and it's because
but it's 2003. Who knows what the gun laws were wherever this fucking was?
Maybe and it's because in the next scene, it's supposed to be a big reveal, which they ruined themselves by showing him look at the keys. Because then to the next scene, they're driving. Kyle and Larry are driving, and Larry's like, "Yeah, buddy, we're gonna take you to Michael." And then Kyle, being a halfway intelligent human, notices they're leaving. Darkness Falls. We're like, "Oh no!" And then he pulls the gun on Larry, and it's supposed to be like, "Oh, Kyle, like you brought a gun.
That's your best friend."
That guy bought you a beer when you
honestly,
didn't want
you want to know what would have been better is if Larry bought the gun, said, "Well, I could use the gun."
Yeah,
and then they're driving, and maybe Kyle reaches for the steering wheel, and Larry's like, "No, you don't," and he pulls out his gun, and then Kyle just immediately just takes it out of his hand and points it at him.
Like,
there you go,
and just pussifies Larry, which is where he belongs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I have some information. RE gun laws.
Oh, great! This is what the people came for.
Yeah. Also, I'm definitely the person to do this. The person who doesn't know fucking dick about guns.
Well, you've got the internet.
They're the pew pew ones. So this movie, I believe, takes place in Maine due to the license plates. And Maine is a constitutional carry state.
We have to carry the Constitution around with you at all times.
So your gun has to have the Constitution written on the handle.
Yeah, from what I understand, you just kind of get one like a fucking Happy Meal toy.
Oh, great!
So this, I will. My wife is originally from Maine, so I'll get once she's back from the store. I'll ask her.
Check her purse.
She's make sure she has 12 guns on her right now.
I thought that was heavy. I never looked inside.
If you see her with a ton of flashlights, she's got a punch card waiting to buy one more.
Yeah, you just leave. You just leave because it's coming. But now that we have this info, anytime we have a movie set anywhere near Maine, it could be on the outskirts. She has to come in and give us some facts.
Yeah, she'll do
bring her in.
Yeah,
well, she did give us some facts about. It was like a canned chicken or something the one time.
Yes, yeah, with the deviled ham in.
That was it.
Whatever movie that was.
Something. But anyway.
So I'm just choosing to believe that what happened here is that they didn't want Kyle to buy a gun to set up the whole thing with Larry, which it just makes it confusing. Why did Larry steal a gun? Why didn't he just buy it without Larry knowing? It's just a weird choice.
And did Kyle think A, the gun would work against the Tooth Fairy, or B, he would need the gun against Larry?
To kill Larry.
He was going to kill Larry no matter what.
Blame it on the Tooth Fairy. This is the perfect crime.
Honestly,
rid of
that
this
would have been
annoying
great.
shithead.
They get in the car, and Larry's like, all right, well, where are we headed? And then he just shoots him in the fucking head and dumps his body out the car, and they take off.
Right. That would have been good.
In these horror movies, you get to clean house. If
Yeah.
some, you know what I mean? Like Freddy Krueger's running around, Jason's running around. If you got any beefs
I
whatsoever
know
with some guy next to you, fucking cap his ass and just be like,
Which
Jason
is why the
did it.
moment
Did
I
you
see Joe, I'm sniping him.
did you see
I
Jason?
always thought about that. Seriously, when watching slasher movies, I used
Yeah.
to think to myself, well, these would be the moments where you could really settle some fucking
yeah.
score. If
Well-
you had some Scream thing going on in your hometown and you really had some beefs,
Oh yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah.
that,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like one of the
Could you
Jason-
imagine?
Jason shot the guy that was fucking my wife.
Right.
You believe that?
Well, at the end of this one, it's like Kat's like, no, it's true. The tooth fairy is real, and everyone's like, okay, but did the tooth fairy shoot Larry? And she's like, wait, what happened to Larry?
Yeah.
Now that's
It was the
ending
only
we all
time the
want.
Tooth Fairy's ever handled a gun.
right. Emptied it right into him.
So
Reloaded
weird.
and did it again.
So
Dad,
weird.
You killed Zombie Flanders. He was a zombie.
Zombie?
Hey,
I choose you.
different.
And that's another
Same
Simpsons
show.
thing.
So Kyle pulls a gun on.
So Kyle pulls a gun.
Joe.
They're both season 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good episode.
Get us
So
to the
anyway,
hospital,
but-
Zach.
Anyway, so they're
Kyle
on their
pulls
way
a
to the
gun
hospital.
on.
Kyle pulls a gun,
on Larry.
and Larry's like, oh, you and crashes into a tree because there's a shadow. A
Holy
shadow.
shit.
He does. What a shithead.
Well, what does Kyle do? What does Kyle do?
Oh, he gets launched, ejected from the tree.
Out of the
Or from the fucking
Yeah,
car.
yeah.
So good. So
And
good.
the poor stuntman broke his leg on that shot.
Oh my
Really?
god.
Yeah.
Dude's fine
What
though.
a
Dude's
terrible
fine.
stuntman. What a
Yeah.
terrible stuntman. You think that would be like one of the most basic stunts going through a windshield at this
The
point?
only thing I can think of is that he was so hot. Like the character is supposed to be so hopped up on drugs and painkillers that like he didn't feel
Doesn't feel pain because he goes straight to the windshield, lands.
it. Mhm.
We see fucking Larry being like, "Wow, I hit a tree," and then blah, there, Tooth
Yeah.
Fairy gets Larry,
Right.
and
Yeah.
fucking now. To be completely fair, though, the car's fine because Kyle
Yes.
climbs in,
Yep.
turns it on,
Perfectly fine.
and then just puts it in reverse,
Yes.
like nothing happened.
Yep.
He doesn't give a shit about Larry.
Hey, they built
Yeah.
him different in 2003. They built him different in 2000.
There's a small moment I really appreciated about this movie where when Larry's getting pulled from the car, they took the time to shoot an insert shot of him hitting his head on the top of the car as he's getting dragged out, which is
Yeah.
just, I don't know why I analyzed that. Like I replayed it like 8 times because I'm like, why would you do that? Like I appreciate the fact that you wanted to hurt Larry more, but
Right.
like
Yeah.
of
But
any
why-
movie to put effort into that, why this one?
When he like snaps his neck on that, but he's still screaming.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Was there anything, Joe, about that scene? Was there supposed to be more action and that was just a piece that was
Yeah,
left
the
over?
trees had a whole arc.
Absolutely. So this was going to be our first good look at the Tooth Fairy originally. You weren't going to see the monster until halfway in. But they went back in and added a bunch of shots so the audience don't get bored.
Yes.
Fair.
But then there was going to be an extended scene. They didn't have they didn't have the money to shoot this. But he would have been driving the car frantically, trying to avoid the Tooth Fairy, and he would have been firing the gun out the window at her.
Okay, whatever the lumens of a lighthouse are, is all it takes to burst
Right.
this thing into flames.
Yeah.
So we've seen instances of just a puddle of light keeping it at bay. How are the high beams of the car not enough ambient
Right. Yeah.
light to keep this thing
Right.
from bugging it?
Those are the wrong kind of light. This is different light.
Fine, say that. I would be fine
yeah,
with that
yeah.
if they just
Yeah.
said that.
I could have used a scene of Larry calling the insurance about the car.
Yeah. Hey,
That would've been
Mike,
great.
it's
Me, it's Larry. You wouldn't believe what just happened. It was with my
Tooth
best
Fairy.
friend Kyle. He pulled a gun on me.
And Katie still won't go on a date with me.
Yeah.
No, Caitlyn still won't go out with me.
And you, the insurance company, can't enforce that?
I pay my premiums.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I think I should get a new car and Katie.
He somehow wrote that into it because he's the town lawyer. He
Yeah.
somehow wrote that into his insurance clause. Well, in case of a car crash, or I'm going to get $25,000 and Katie's hand in marriage.
All right, Trevor, put this movie in the MRI machine.
Please.
All right, so Michael goes into the spooky MRI machine, and I called him Kirk Dameron, drives to the hospital. That's our lead boy, Kyle, whatever. He calls in. Oh, yeah, he calls in. We see a nurse like sitting there. Hello, Darkness Falls Hospital. Dark Falls General.
Hello, this is Nurse McNurse.
Yeah, he wants to talk to Katie. Katie's not there or whatever. She's not available. He warns them, do not put Michael in the dark. Do not put Michael in the dark. Then we see Michael being prepped for the MRI. They do the injection. He wigs out. It's like a burning sensation. He's a little kid. He's already freaked out. He's freaking out even more. He's squirming. Katie's crying her eyes out. Outside in another room, she looks on through a window. Remember this, because she's gonna fucking teleport into the room in a second.
There's a joke cut that the nurse said, like, so they say, like, oh my god, it's burning, and then she was going to say, like, oh, there isn't fish in this. He's not allergic to fish, is she? But they cut that joke.
Is that true?
That's true.
Oh, God, it was so bad. I just assumed it was you.
Yeah, I just assumed you made that up.
Yeah,
no, it's
right
true.
now.
I couldn't even
on the
understand
spot.
half the word you said, so I'm going to take everyone else's. It was just a bad joke.
It was fine.
Trevor, there is a brief scene where Caitlyn is talking with the doctor who's going to be performing the procedure because it's a different doctor. Because the old doctor is gone, the actor has gone, and so they're like,
Yes,
"You're
he
doing
died.
the procedure. What happened? Oh, he had to go. Like it's just so like great. I
He's
love
in the
it.
bathroom.
He's in the bathroom. He
He's
doesn't
all
want-
about that. He couldn't
He
possibly.
doesn't want to be in this movie anymore.
Well, I'm waiting for Joe to come in. Well, actually, originally the first doctor.
the doctor, it was a sidetrack. The doctor got hit by a bus.
In the previous scene, we saw him die.
he got dysentery and had to leave the set, and so they brought in John Phillippe's brother.
I take my role as a Cyterian very seriously.
You're doing great, Joe. You're doing
You
great.
are.
Joe.
You've got a lot of tidbits, and it sounds like a great movie with a lot of bits to uncover.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
sounds
did
like-
a deep dive, Joe. I will
Yeah,
say.
sounds like there was actually a lot in this one, which is nice. Michael is freaking out and he's in pain. Oh my gosh! And they dim the lights, and he's getting wheeled, or not wheeled, but he's getting pushed into this sensory deprivation tank. It's like CG darkness in there,
Yeah.
where you don't even see his little feet when they go in. It's just black, and he's like being swallowed by this dark. He's going to the sunken place in this MRI machine, and it's like right up to like, oh, right by it's covered his mouth, and now it's up his nose, and it's almost gonna cover his eyes. And then Kyle walks. Don't get him out of the darkness. He's scared of the dark or whatever.
So can the Tooth Fairy just teleport to any patch of darkness?
Yeah.
Can
Seems
she
like
just
it, yeah.
appear in the car? They were driving in a car in the dark of the forest. Could she just get inside that car?
Her multitasking in this movie is beyond annoying. It's like at this point I was just like, can you just pick one of them? Can you just pick one of them to hunt? Because doing the two at the same time is really fucking with my time-space relations. And I don't know how you're doing this or why, or I don't even know why you give a shit about the Michael kid. I never did. Like,
I have no idea.
Because there's a part where like Kyle's like, he's gonna go for Michael, and it's like, why?
why?
Why Michael?
Who cares? Good.
Did they say that Michael saw her at one point? If so,
He lost
why
his
don't
last
we
tooth.
see her?
Right.
Why don't we see this happen?
Because the rules there, she's not going to come to you until you lose your last tooth.
There's a line in there that he just lost his last tooth the last night.
God, this would have been so much better if Michael confronted the Tooth Fairy and he said, "You want fucking teeth? I'll give you fucking teeth." And he just racks his mouth against a metal bar, and it just
that'd be
all of his
awesome.
teeth are coming out.
What would have been even better if the MRI deprivation tank should have just exploded, and then the hospital would have exploded, and then the movie could be over. Like that would be the best.
Yeah, and we'd be done right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Be great.
Before Michael dies, he's laying there. He's like, it's getting dark. It's getting so dark.
Here's wounded in combat. He's going dim.
Wounded in combat.
Don't-
So Kyle
Joe,
bursts in, asks them to stop the machine, and they just do.
Yep.
He is promptly
He's not holding
arrested.
the gun or anything.
He would have been, but they cut it. Because, like, it was going...
Shut the fuck
Jesus
up.
Christ.
Okay.
He is arrested and taken away, but not before saying again that they should not put Michael in the dark. Now we're in the jail, and Kyle tells Cop Jr., because his daddy is the police chief, I assume. I wrote down, in jail, Kyle tells the Cop Jr. about that time he saw an urban legend kill his mom.
Yeah.
Because there's no other way around.
No.
Yeah.
Tooth Fairy killed my mom. Like, okay, sure.
Right.
It
Yeah,
was
sure,
the
but-
Bigfoot.
It was, yeah. It was the butterfly. We also learned that once you see her, she will keep killing until she kills you. So go let her kill you to save everyone.
So
Now
another
this-
layer of the onion that just allows this thing to kill.
You selfish bastard.
This is the part that I took a screenshot or a picture of and sent to the group earlier today. Because the line is, I saw her, she killed my mother, and once you've seen her, she doesn't stop.
I'm assuming it means she doesn't stop, so she's pursuing him still.
Yeah, she won't stop until she gets.
But she's also killing other people?
Every single other person
Anytime
she sees.
somebody sees her, anytime somebody sees her,
but she's choosing to get in front of them.
Yeah.
She like puts herself in front of him. She's like, "Oh, you saw me!
Oh, you saw me!"
Then Kyle's a shitty protagonist.
Absolutely.
He needs to just let himself die,
Yeah.
and that sucks because the actor is dead now. But this character needs to die.
In Darkness Falls, Maine, when you put your tooth under the pillow, if you fucking stay awake, you piece of shit, and you see her, she's never going away. And so because Kyle did that, and now Michael's experiencing the same thing, she's active. But if every little kid just went to fucking bed like the mommy and daddy told them to.
Sleep.
what happens if you don't put the tooth under the pillow? What if you just pull that last tooth out and say "fuck you" and flush it?
What if you swallow it?
Or you swallow. Then you're laying in bed and she's going to come in and
She's gonna cut
she's
you
going to
open.
get it out of you.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you but if you don't see her.
The second meeting they had where they were concepting this thing, they should have just, actually, all of this doesn't make sense. So why don't we just say that she just likes teeth and she's going to kill people for their teeth? And then that's it.
I mean, no one has said it yet. But they wanted this to just be the boogeyman. They wanted this to just be a scary month. But like they're doing so much like backwards rebuilding to try to get this thing to fit into a tiny box that is the Tooth Fairy. It's exhausting. It's exhausting.
The cop doesn't give a shit about it. Kyle then brings up all the missing people cases that have happened in the town, or that the town has had throughout the years, particularly involving children. And the cop kind of like stops and reconsiders for a sec. But before he can really do anything else, the power's out. So now it's dark and Kyle can't get out. And he's in jail, so it's dark and he can't leave. And he's losing it because he's in the dark and he's a grown man who's afraid of the dark. Cop Junior goes over to investigate a noise in the back of the station after a little bit of back and forth with a subordinate. He's going back. He's in like the evidence lockers and all the old timey shit back there. I don't know. He's looking at here's a noise in the locker labeled unsolved cases or cold cases or something.
Unsolved crimes. It's just like a file folder that they've labeled.
Where should we put these? I don't know. Keep them at the police station.
Yeah, just leave them there.
There's just a rack of child skeletons with no teeth, just like lined up against the wall.
Filed.
Boy, these are peculiar, don't you think? Yeah.
Yeah.
Much like the hospital, this police station doesn't really feel like a police station. Because in the small cell that's in the middle of like the what do they call that, the bull ring or whatever, of the police station, the bullpen, thank you, these like glass square inserts where like it's like hollow in the middle of the glass. It's like opaque so you can't clearly see through, but like that's in the jail cell, so like at night all somebody would have to do is kick through that to get out. So it was just confusing why they just left.
Yeah, it's one of these.
It's Australia, I get it.
Yeah, maybe this is what Australian cells look like. But the hospital was kind of like that too. It just looks like an old building.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't know. Whatever. It's interesting looking. I mean, I appreciated seeing that instead of just the same hospital set we've seen.
Well, you couldn't even really see it. The movie is lit like ass. You can't fucking see anything. And like now that we're on the ass end of the movie where everything's in the dark, like
Tony, darkness has fallen is the thing.
I know.
That's the whole bit of it. But the important thing is that he's that his bat flies out. Flies out of the unsolved cases shelf thing.
Something came flying. I fell asleep during this chunk of the movie.
A fucking bat flies out.
I really fell asleep during parts of this. Oh fuck, I missed that.
That's a Ziegler first.
Yeah, well, that's the first one I've admitted.
You fucker.
Wow.
Hey,
all right. You heard it here first, folks.
Darkness Falls, guys. It's Darkness fucking Falls.
Yeah, they call him ZZZ Ziegler.
That's right. That's
no. Don't boo him. That was very good.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
These are the kind of jokes that need to be applauded. Yeah. So yeah, yay. So yeah, Beth flies out of the unsolved case or shelf or whatever, and his flashlight goes off like not like a gun, but like it turns off.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know this thing was loaded.
Flash like a
It'd be
bang.
great if Kyle invented a gun that shoots flashlights.
Yeah, he makes a
hell yeah.
lightsaber.
Hell yeah.
Well, like a laser beam.
Boom.
I just keep thinking, he's reaching down, he finds like a box of flashlights, and he's just, oh God, Matilda's coming at him. He grabs one, he's like, fuck you, and he rips the cap off, and it's Joe's flashlight. It's just,
Oh, it's dripping and stuff.
This ain't gonna help me at all, but I guess I'll take a minute.
It's like stretched out. It's stretched out so it flops out, and it's like
Yeah, it's
making a
all-
bunch of wet noise.
It's got a bunch of stains on it. It's all dark and
he
discolored.
squeezes it right, and it shoots out. It's Larry in the eye. He's like, it burns.
Once it's really dark, we can hear some spooky noises, but he gets light back on. He sneaks around, finally leading to something that he shoots off screen, and we find out that it was a dog, and that's it.
Well, one of Darkness Fall's finest is keeping watch over Kyle as the rest of the police station scrambles around at all the commotion. The cop teases Kyle with the flashlight and mockingly asks him, "Is she gonna get me?" And Kyle, fucking ice cold, goes, "Yeah." It
Was decent.
Best
Yeah,
moment.
That was
That was great.
it was boss. It was how Kyle should have been acting the whole movie.
Yeah.
And she does. She scoops up the jerk cop, and after his screams bring the rest of the cops into the room, the Tooth Fairy begins to take them out one by one. She confuses the cops as she strikes, causing them to make it not to shoot at her, but rather the lights in the room, making it easier for her to slaughter them.
Which
Kyle
is why has she not been doing this the whole fucking
That's what I'm
time?
saying. Like all of a sudden, she knows how to fight. She's got plans.
She just needs like a Dennis the Menace slingshot where
Right.
she's just blasting the lights out.
She's been training with Daredevil because he can't see her. So
Right.
she's just
Or
like,
even
wow, I'm good
better,
at martial arts.
She's dragging Larry's body around and just pulling parts off to smash lights with.
Right. Kyle screams at the cops to get him a flashlight. He pleads with them, stay in what little light's left and to not look at her, but they do not listen. He gets a hold of the cell door keys and frantically tries to find the one that will let him out, like old school style, like ring of 1,000 keys.
Like
He's
a
like
janitor.
going through them
Yeah.
one by one. And it's dark because you can't see which one. It sucks. We've all been in that situation. During the scene, so during the scene, you never see the Tooth Fairy in full, but this is the clearest that she's been so far. There's lots of quick glimpses of her in the light right before they're broken or shot out. Kind of cool. They're using her torn cloak in a way that I thought kind of looked like tentacles for a second when she was floating. It looked a little neat, and then they blew it like an immediate second later. Very hard to figure out what's going on with these cuts. Kyle does get out though, and he grabs some flashlights. He shines them on her, and she immediately zooms away because again, this light rule is kind of like whatever you want it to be. He saves what's left of the cops, and he says he's going to go for that she is going to go for Michael again. Why or who cares? Nobody knows. Back at the hospital, Michael's hiding again because now it's dark because the power, I guess, has gone out everywhere. The Tooth Fairy shows up. Caitlyn and Michael take off down the hallway. She chases them. It's kind of neat. She's kind of floating. It was cool for a second. They duck into what looked like to me some sort of hospital machine storage room, like old beds and incubators and monitors and stuff. It's just like your junk closet at home, except everything in there cost $1 million. They get spooked out of that room. This was all very hard to follow. I had to watch this sequence multiple times to figure out what was going on. Basically, bottom line is they leave that room. They go down another hallway where there's an elevator. Of course, that old elevator is taking a while to get there. It's weird that it's this late in the century and we can't fix that. That's still a thing that happens. Tooth Fairy gets closer. They show her hovering in the very spooky shot. Just as she strikes, the elevator doors open, and the two of them are pulled inside just in the nick of time by Kyle, who has showed up to save the day. He fires up a flare and he throws it in the Tooth Fairy's goddamn face, which was awesome. And then he pushes the elevator door button about 100 times before.
But even more confusing.
Yeah,
even
again.
more confusing because there was already ambient light from the elevator, which should have been enough to get her away.
Right.
But then he busts out the flare.
The flare, yeah.
Which doesn't set her on fire.
No.
Yet his dimly lit arm later is enough to engulf her in flames.
That's because he didn't punch her. You got to punch the flame.
You got to punch.
You got to call her a bitch. That's what
he
does
didn't
it.
have a cool line yet. See, he didn't have a cool line yet, so he couldn't say anything.
He was too busy. Caitlyn, you want to go on a date with me to pizza?
Right. But they're him and Caitlyn and Michael, they're enjoying a nice ride down the elevator when the Tooth Fairy somehow stops the elevator between floors and then crashes through the ceiling. Caitlyn strikes up another flare, and the tooth fairy like zooms right back up. And then Kyle tries to get the door open. The flare starts to die. Caitlyn tells him the hospital power is out, which, like, no shit, dummy. I know at this point. The hospital staff on the other side of the door help them all out. They get Michael and Caitlyn out first. Tooth fairy up in the shaft. She starts messing with the elevator cable. The elevator begins to shake and is about to drop. And while they make it look very obvious that Kyle is going to be squeezed in half as he's crawling out of the doors, everybody relax. He made it out in time. But it did look very close. It did look very close, like it was going to get him.
Like the moment he gets chopped in half, wake me up! Cut to credits.
Credits, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody in the elevator thought to grab his bag of flashlights, so he's pissed off about that.
Oh, he's having an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
I would be too. Do you know how many flashlights he's lost in the last 14 hours?
Spent $3,000 on ever ready flashlights. Yeah. But he's there with the other hospital staff. He's like, we got to get it to the lobby. We should be able to make it as long as the hospital emergency lights stay on. He says, if we don't get there before the hospital goes dark, we're all dead. The nurse is like, well, I'll start evacuating the hospital patients. And Kyle like snaps. He's like, no, you idiot. It's only after us because we all saw it, not them, you dummy. You absolute moron.
Don't you know how the tooth fairy works?
You know how it works, you moron, you stupid nurse. And so he's like, well, we got to go. You all saw it, though, so you're fucked.
Hero my ass.
Yeah. So he tells them to just stay in the light and they'll stay alive. And so then they follow Kyle to escape.
Kyle's plan isn't great because the first corridor they come across is this long, dark hallway where you've got pipes lined up along the lit side of it. And he just says, hey, you stay in the light, you stay alive. He jumps into the light and he's like splayed out across it with his back against it, like, and then Michael joins him. And then again, he reiterates, look, if we do single file, stay in the light, we're okay. And then the older nurse immediately just runs into the darkness.
Like
and then
the second he says
yeah,
it.
doesn't listen.
Like a linebacker, the tooth fairy nails her back into the pipes and the light.
Yeah, if you look closely, there is no tooth fairy in that shot. It's absolutely nothing. Yeah.
No, I believe it. Yeah, it's just darkness.
Yeah, you don't have to look that close.
We know.
What was the movie that we watched? Was it Spaceship Terror that had a bottomless pit that was just like out of frame?
Yeah.
The girls had to jump over it, right?
Because that's what we're doing right now.
Right.
Okay.
And I was gonna say, like, when Tyler, we were talking about this and Dead Silence, and the way that Mary Shaw grabs Donnie Wahlberg in that's exactly how the tooth fairy here is grabbing everybody.
Yes.
Just like, whoof, caught you off guard. Whoof, gotcha. It's so
but you
lazy.
can scream in this one, right?
Yeah, you're allowed to, but you're gonna die anyway. So,
but you can't look at her.
Yeah, just don't look.
I want to see a team up. I want to see Mary Shaw, Matilda Dixon team up.
Ooh, you'd be like hear no evil or speak no evil, see no evil.
Yeah, and it's because one of their strengths is the other one's weakness, and they work together.
The older nurse was knocked against the pipes. The doc and Katie go to help her up. The one light that was there suddenly goes out. And of course, as I'm sure most people who have not seen this movie are assuming, the younger nurse is the one that is hoisted into the air. And I will say this, it is a great looking shot. If I've watched it in slow motion, you clearly see that the creature of the tooth fairy is there holding onto her, pulling her back. It's a great big wide shot. But the thing is that if this thing really, really wants Kyle or Michael, that was the moment. Right there. The light was out. You had carte blanche over anybody in that space, but you went for the fucking young nurse. We just cut to a new space. They're all just running through this plastic-covered hall, and then we end up
on a spaceship.
Yeah. And then we end up at the stairwell where Katie and Michael are ahead of the doctor, the older nurse, and Kyle. And Katie and Michael are making it down a couple flights of stairs, and the stairs are not lit, but the platforms at the top floor, and then this in-between floor, and then the bottom floor are lit. But then a light goes out, and it becomes even darker. So you really can only go to the platform, which, guys, I don't know if you know this, but if you jump through darkness, you skip the darkness and only land in the light.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Floor's lava rules, right?
Yes, exactly.
The high
That is
ground.
the Kyle or,
The high ground. Yeah.
Kyle, Doc, and the older
I
nurse's
have the
plan.
highlight.
Oh, fuck off.
It's over,
You
Tooth Fairy.
underestimate my darkness.
From my perspective, you're in the dark.
Oh, jeez.
The trio at the top decides to jump to the middle platform, and they all jump at the same time. And of course, the older nurse is grabbed and hoisted away. And so then it's the Kyle and the Doc, and they have some banter. Kyle's like, you okay? You ready to do another jump? And he's like, not really. They jump and to the ground floor where Katie and Michael are. And the tooth decay only manages to knock him over and down the stairs, so it doesn't get anybody. Katie goes over to Kyle. She's like holding him. They have this moment where, for some reason, I don't quite know why, the tooth fairy can't strike, but is right there next to his face, and you clearly hear it go, Kyle. And it's like, why? Why does it have to remember him?
I want your teeth.
There's no way to make the word Kyle sound scary, though.
No.
Kyle.
No, doesn't work.
Katie's got this great idea. She just grabs Kyle and they like tuck and roll down more stairs. And no, here it comes. It's going to get you. And then blammo. Matt is in a Jeep and he slams through the glass front that I was bitching about at the beginning 2 hours ago. This fucking madness.
There it goes.
Why the fuck is Matt here? What the fuck is going on here? And this is
Also,
where...
who is
Matt? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to give the writers here and editors some fucking credit. They do some heavy lifting with like 6-word sentences because immediately the foursome, Katie, Michael, Kyle, and the doctor hop into the car, and Kyle and Matt have this dialogue back and forth where it's like, did you get the cans? Got the cans. We're going to the lighthouse. There's a generator there. We're going to fill it up with gas. We're going to keep it going. The light's going to be hot. We're going to be good. And it's like, oh, you guys had this plan. And when did you do that? Because as far as I was aware, Kyle just sprinted from the police station to the hospital. But apparently they had time to come up with a plan. And that's where Matt was this whole time. Matt was getting gas cans. Is Matt's father, the police chief, alive? We'll never know.
Nobody knows.
I know next time on Darkness Falls.
If anything, if it was a serial like from like the 60s, I would have loved it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
They're driving down the road. Everything's going to be okay. Katie touches Kyle's hand. We're finally feeling like, okay, we're going to get a moment away from this thing. And that fucking doctor has to open his goddamn mouth. Why don't we just stay in the Jeep? It's got lights on it, which I fully agree. Let's get the fuck out of town. But then, boom, all the windows start shattering and he's grabbed and pulled out of there. Mind you, the fucking headlights on this Jeep are blindingly bright and there is some light in the vehicle, but who gives a shit? Okay, so she starts beating the shit out of the Jeep, pounding on the top, doing all this stuff, apparently able to fly at speeds up to 60 miles an hour or more. And Katie grabs a flashlight, spooks it away, but then, for no fucking reason, the flashlight goes out.
It happens a lot in this movie, yeah. Like probably like 10 different times a flashlight breaks or goes out. And
there's no reason. It's not like it was getting jostled around or anything like that. I mean, they are getting jostled around because the Jeep's getting hit, but it's not enough to break this fucking light. Well, anyways, I know why they did this. Kyle has some like off camera or like you don't see his mouth dialogue where he's like, oh, quick, get those kerosene lanterns out. And then we hard cut to them arriving at the lighthouse. And the reason why they establish getting the kerosene lanterns out immediately is because by the time they're at the lighthouse, they're going to die soon. And they're going to say this 100 times. They're going to die soon. They're going to die soon. They're going to die soon.
As soon as they get something in their mind, an idea or a phrase, stay in the light or come on, or we're going to go keep Michael out of the dark. They just won't stop. They're just going to run with it forever.
And so they get to the lighthouse. Matt's got a shotgun. They need to get the generator going so they can get the lighthouse lamp up and running. And the generator's behind it an enclosure, like a metal fencing thing. But hey, it doesn't matter. Kyle immediately just reaches between the bars and starts like fucking with the wires. It's like, at no point did you make me think that Kyle was this savvy with generators. It's like, if anything that involves lighting something, he just knows the infrastructure of the means to get it powered.
This needs to be his job in Vegas.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And again, to go back to the small town thing, we all know that they never made it that easy for us. It was always harder to fuck around with like lighthouses and water towers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like there was some thought, because clearly some kids have broken into the lighthouse.
It would have been
Darkness
great
Falls
if Matt just had a line as they were driving up there. Oh no, how are we going to get in there? Don't worry, I have the key to the city.
I got a key to
and
the,
it
I got a key to
opens
the
everything.
Yeah, I'm the cop. I'm the son of the sheriff. I can get into wherever the fuck I want.
Or if he just is like, oh no, we'll be fine. They get there, and now there's all these security because he was fucking around when he was a kid. Now
That's
he can't
right.
get it. It's like,
That's right.
shit.
I feel like the
God.
lighthouse deserved an earlier mention. I was a little bummed to just learn that.
It's on the fucking box art for everything and the poster.
Oh,
Is
that's
Darkness Falls a port town?
I would
Well, it's
imagine.
supposed to be
Something like that would have a fucking
Ferry
lighthouse.
Port,
it's
right?
got all the ship stuff, yeah.
No, Joe, what was it called? Ferry Port or Port
Yeah,
Ferry?
Port Ferry.
That's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
but is there
okay.
anything that shows, like, do we see
Nah.
a body of water at any point in time that would lead us to believe that there's a reason for
The
a lighthouse?
establishing shot when Kyle goes to the town, you get that rock
Okay.
music playing, and you see like the ocean, the sea, whatever it is, the
Okay.
lake. And but it also looks just like it looks like a town riddled with trailers. It looks like shit. So, and then we get all this infrastructure, this hospital with the best doctors. It's just a shit house.
It is.
Anyways, it was probably stock footage, to be honest, of the city.
Probably, yeah.
But okay, so Kyle's fucking with the generator, and they're like, and again, this is like all like off camera or like behind the actor's back. Hey, look, that's where you pour the gas in. So like Matt climbs up there, and starts pouring a cereal bowl's worth of gas in there, and then Matt says, "Don't worry, that's gonna get us about a week's worth of light." And it's like, no, it's not. How do you even know how this
Musk
works?
showed up and said, "I need
Right.
to talk to you about your energy efficiency," and that's how we got SpaceX.
But it's such like a writer problem. Like I can
Yeah.
imagine the dude's pacing the room. Like, how the fuck are we gonna explain? Okay, we're gonna come up with some sort of lighter generator, electric thing, like where it jump starts the electric. Like it's just a stupid writer thing.
Yeah.
They should have just not. If you didn't bring attention to it, never would have thought of it. Never
Also,
would have thought of it.
There's a part of me that just thinks that lighthouses just run on diesel
just go-
anyways.
Right. I thought
They aren't dependent upon like standard electricity.
No.
I just would love it if there was like a regular outlet that they had to plug the light
just
into.
turn, just plug it in.
What is a generator, you know?
Yeah, it's like a big on-off switch.
What if,
Right.
I thought it would make sense if they were like solar powered. So all day long they're out there sucking in the juice, and then the
True.
juice
Yeah.
go all night. You know, somebody come on.
Well, not in this America, Ryan. In this America, we run on good old fashioned gasoline.
That's
Sorry. Sorry, you commie.
The idea here is that there's a storm of which we see no rain
Right.
that has caused the power outage, which doesn't fine. Fuck it. It would be funner if the Tooth Fairy was literally sucking the power
Right.
from the infrastructure of
Oh,
the
she's
city.
siphoning it. She's siphoning it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she made the leak in the gas hose.
That's
She
right.
spit it. She spit that shit right into the water, and then we cut to a fish or a pelican that just covered it with that oil, and it's dying slowly. It's that Tooth Fairy's fucking relentless.
It's a
He was
trap.
killing
She
them
home
all.
alone this shit. She home alone this shit.
There's marbles everywhere.
Yo.
Kyle, do you give up or are you thirsty for more?
They fire
No
up
way,
the-
I'm gonna give you the spicy doorknob.
Yep. They fire up the generator. They climb the stairs. They get to the hatch that takes them to the bulb area of the lighthouse, the glass enclosure. And it's very important. There are two platforms here. There is the platform of the hatch of which they come out of. There's a ground floor, and then there's like a half circle, like graded platform, which is where the light is. There's a small ladder that gets them up there. It's about a 4-foot drop. Okay, we've established the setting. They start up the lighthouse light, and it goes out almost immediately. And Matt's like, well, there must be a fuel line blockage, which apparently everybody's a genius when it comes to the lighthouse. But then this is when they start establishing, oh, we got to do it quick because the kerosene lanterns are going to go out. They're going to go out. Oh my God, they're going to go out. And so Kyle and Matt, Kyle signs up Matt. They decide, well, we're going to go downstairs or they're down to the generator and we're going to check the lines, do all that shit. And Matt's like, oh boy, we're going to get killed, aren't we? And then they start going down and he says, all of this over a fucking tooth. And it's like,
Oh, God,
except
that was
it
just-
isn't really about the teeth.
No. We left that hours ago.
Yeah, I just wrote rage after that line. So Kyle catches a whiff of something, sniff, sniff, sniff. It's gas, and it's everywhere. It's all over the ground. And then we see this little rubber hose and it's squirting gas everywhere. With the amount of times I talk about how gas is everywhere, you think that's going to come into play. Stay tuned, folks. As Kyle says, well, I got to quickly get this fucking rag over the fuel line because, again, the lanterns are going to go out. They've said it like 8 times at this point in fucking 3 minutes. It's annoying. So anyways, Matt's leaning over the stairwell, holding the lantern to give Kyle light. And I don't know why they both didn't just go down there together, holding the light together. Kyle's trying to wrap the thing around the who's-he, what's-he, and blah, 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 blah. And then, oh my God, Matt's not completely in the light. And the Tooth Fairy gets him and pulls him up and knocks Kyle over. He falls through some wood all of a sudden. I don't know what happened. And he hits the ground where we see it is covered in gas. And the kerosene lantern has fallen over and it's dripping liquid. And there's still some fire in the kerosene lantern. Is Kyle done for? Will everything burst into flames? Absolutely fucking not. I'm done.
As Caitlyn and Michael's lantern grows dimmer, Michael activates his glow stick and starts fucking raging on Molly, and it says, I don't give a shit anymore about life.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, he breaks the glow stick. That's a little bit of light as a means to protect himself from buildup. I did like this. I like this shot. I like the composition of this shot briefly where it's a low angle shot. We're looking up at Caitlyn and Michael, and they're holding that.
You see her in the back.
Yeah, and you see Matilda kind of float in behind them, behind the glass. Nicely shot. She comes in, comes out. Caitlyn kind of senses that something's going on. She turns around. She's looking out the window, the lighthouse window. She's hearing noises. We're hearing noises. We're like, oh, Matilda's going to fucking explode through the glass. And she does. She explodes right through the fucking glass. She snatches up Caitlyn, causing Michael to fall off the ledge. We don't see where Michael's body hits, though, because Kyle quickly regains his post-fall exposure, and he hurls his motherfucking lantern at Matilda, hits her in the face. She drops Caitlyn, who then hits the floor like a sack of wet cement.
I mean, she really does.
She's like, she fucking hits.
I thought she died.
Like irreparable damage to her spine has been committed.
Where darkness falls. Yeah.
Yeah. But then Matilda, she recovers quickly. As Matilda hovers above them, the three realize they are losing the light and they must flip the switch there's a big switch on the wall, and that's what's going to save their asses. But they kind of move over, they're in the light, and the light's moving, and they're kind of moving with the light, and they're seeing Matilda's shadow kind of following them, and they get to where the switch is, but it's impossible for Kyle's adult arm and body to reach between whatever the fuck it is and the switch. So Michael, he's going to go, I can't reach it, and he's struggling to reach it, and Matilda's getting closer. Matilda's fucking hand comes into the light. Her finger's getting close to Kyle. Kyle screams like a bitch. All of a sudden, Matilda hits the light. Some fire and smoke and shit comes out of her finger because, it's kind of like a vampire in the light, whatever. And then Michael is able to reach the switch, and he pulls the switch, and the lighthouse light beams bright, causing Matilda to screech and seemingly disappear. Is this the end of Matilda? Was it that simple? She just needed a lot of lumens? Thinking they are now safe, the trio lets their guard down for just a moment. When Matilda attacks, she lifts Kyle in the air, and she's trying with all her bony might to break his fucking neck as they fight. Kyle's flailing, weak goddamn arms make contact with the lighthouse light. I didn't think to call it a bulb, but I guess it would be a bulb. I just kept calling it the lighthouse light in my mind. Comes into contact with the glass around the bulb and shatters the glass. So now there's like sparks and shit. So it's still lit up, but there's problems. It's broken to a certain extent. So there's fucking sparks. He also knocks off Matilda's porcelain mask, exposing her hideous melted visage. And we finally see fully that she's just like a Freddy Krueger thing. And she's not really
exactly.
Yeah, it's not
really
interesting.
that scary.
Yeah, it's just a burnt lady.
Yeah. Not that hot, huh, Joe? Not that hot, huh?
No, absolutely
and when
not.
the porcelain mask hits the ground and shatters, all of a sudden there's teeth.
There's teeth, and it's the Tooth Fairy.
All right, teeth.
So is the mask made of teeth? Is that where she holds the teeth? I don't know. You don't know. Jonathan Liebesman doesn't know.
When you saw it in the theater, Tyler, I mean, I'm sure the audience went nuts, right? Everybody was jumping at that piece. Like, the mask.
We were so excited.
The
Tooth Fairy.
Fucking teeth.
Everybody started calling up their dentist and scheduling appointments. We were also excited.
Right.
Tyler was in the middle of a dry handy at that moment, and she got so excited she squeezed it. He had to go to the emergency room. She broke some blood vessels. She was so excited at that moment. It's a fucking teeth. I was like, no, it's not. Let go.
I was uncircumcised going into that date, and I was circumcised going out.
Oh my lord!
Take us home, Ryan. Take us home.
Yeah, are we done? What happens next, Ryan?
I'm unplugged. Okay.
Oh my god! At the 11th hour,
Let me squeeze on my own dick so
she explodes.
hard. No. So, so
shatters.
shrieking.
Yeah.
Matilda attempts to gouge Kyle's fucking eyeball out. And I'm like, yes. I love when lead characters get really hurt before the end.
I do think it's weird that she didn't go for his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Or give
Yeah.
him a
Tooth
like, rip
fairy,
out some-
no. You know?
You know what I think was weird? I think what was weird was when the whole movie just fucking started.
Yeah.
Good point.
She's trying to rip his eyeball out. Then, in one last try to save himself, Kyle reaches his kerosene-soaked arm to the broken lighthouse light, which is throwing those sparks. The sparks cause his sleeve to catch a flame, and then he uses his burning arm to throw a wild fucking haymaker right into Matilda's head, and he yells, "I see you, bitch!" as he swings his arm.
So
Fucking swing. I laugh so hard.
Honestly, what would have been so much better is if after that first initial, we think she's gone, and then she strikes, and like they spook her away, and we see her flying over the water. If like Katie was like, "It's all over. It's too late. She's gone free," and then little Michael's like, "Not yet, bitch." And then he just lights up the lighthouse and it takes off like a fucking rocket and it just soars into the sky and it smashes into her and smashes her into the water.
Yeah.
I really wanted him to say to Matilda, like, "Give me a smile, baby."
Ew. Give me a smile.
like
Actually,
that
that makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
It really does.
God.
Hey, Matilda, say cheese. And
There you go.
Bam! Even better. It's so dumb, but what if Kyle became a dentist?
Sure, why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. Not too late.
All these great things this movie could have been.
Yeah.
But the movie really is Matilda also catches on fire and she's burning and she explodes.
Oh, my
the monster-
god.
And the explosion looks just like the explosion of a TIE fighter in Star Wars. It has
Yes, it does.
It's
There's
like the
one really
same-
bad shot of like this composition of Matilda burning with the flames are turning like blue and green, and it's bad.
Yeah, it looks like Splinter in the middle of the fire in Turtles movie when he's standing there. Again, the turtles all coming out. All coming
Yep.
with their
All
Or
comes
like,
back.
or whenever they just stuck fire in front of the face melt scene in Raiders.
Yeah.
Because it was too violent otherwise.
So Matilda, catches on fire. She burns. She explodes. The monster is dead. As the heroes sit and catch their breath, the camera spins down, and then focuses on the shards of Matilda's mask and Kyle's last old tooth. There it is, that fucking tooth that started.
I want to make this clear. The movie ends at 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 40 seconds. That's when the movie ends.
Right.
Yes, but we do have one more scene.
No, I know, but the movie's done. Like,
Yeah, the movie stops. Yeah,
They don't
the
get
story-
credit for the next minute and 20 seconds. They don't deserve it.
And there's no way that Kyle's not going to prison, right? Like you can't explain any of this. Like every cop in town is
The
dead.
police chief shows up. My son, my boy.
son's dead. I didn't
It
like
was
you
the
to
tooth
begin
fairy.
with.
Kyle's standing there with a
Right.
handful of teeth. You're not gonna believe this.
Right.
Yeah,
She's
'cause there's
killed
no evidence.
every eyewitness. She's
All
killed
the boys
every
in town
eyewitness.
have to brush their teeth tonight before midnight.
Shut up, Joe.
So then we dissolve to a nondescript suburban house at night. Inside the house, the father is readying his son for bed. He puts his son Billy puts his son's tooth under the pillow and reminds him not to peek at the tooth fairy because everybody apparently knows the tooth fairy. You don't want to look at it.
A fucking
He
monster.
then kisses Billy goodnight and leaves. Billy, quiet of his room. It's dark. He tries to sleep, but he's scared. He's seeing shadows in his room. Is Matilda coming back for the tooth? He says, "Tooth fairy." Boom, jump scare. Someone's on his bed. It's just his mom. His mom came in to wake him up, give him a fucking scare. You know, that's always good for a
What a
drunk.
bitch.
Yeah.
Then she tells him, "Oh, sorry, I'm just coming in to say goodnight, I guess. Go back to sleep." As he does go back to sleep, she then reaches under his pillowcase, takes the tooth, replaces it with
Sack, Joe, we,
And then shoots him.
and that is the end at a minute.
Wake me up!
Oh yeah, some beats. The classic 2003 alt rock beats into guitars. Super sick. We all loved it. We were all there for
Hell
it.
yeah.
Song. I did it for the drugs. Kicks in. And
The only way I would give them credit for that last minute and a half is if the fucking tooth fairy wasn't dead or if there was another tooth fairy. In every town, there's a tooth fairy, but there isn't. So it's a small, dumb scene that's like a, huh? Nah. And so you don't get credit for it. Yeah, and
you gotta set up that sequel. If Darkness Falls breaks
But it
80
doesn't.
million,
It
you gotta
doesn't
have a
set up a
sequel
sequel.
ready to go.
What
But
do
it
you
didn't
call in
set
the
up a
sequel,
sequel.
Joe? What do you call in the sequel?
Let me think. Maybe like Bad Tooth Time for Timmy.
All right, Batch.
Yeah.
It's cool
Darkness
because
Falls
it
2.
follows the established motif they've got going on.
Yeah,
Right.
The
Right.
naming convention.
Yeah.
I would have put 3 or 4 more scenes after that also meant nothing, of like a guy like going to a car, just more scenes that
10 other families getting
Yes.
the tooth, and like it's always a jump scare. So like one kid does he's a tooth fairy and it's his dog,
just goes
and
on and
one
on.
and it's a burglar. Like it's just, that'd be great.
On and on.
It's just a
Yeah.
drunken parent coming in punching.
Yeah.
And now the kid, yeah, now there's more teeth for your fucking pillow.
Jesus. All right, Ryan's getting violent. Let's end this thing.
money. That's my beer money.
But that's there it is. There it is. Yeah, and then we have 10 minutes, 12 minutes of fucking credits because the Sony was like, shit, this is not long enough, guys. So slow down those credits. Slow them down.
Damn, we chopped too much out of it. We gotta make it longer now.
They did. They chopped too much out.
They
They
took
were-
too much out.
So there it is. Darkness Falls 2003. On a scale from malevolent to benevolent, I'm going to ask our special guest for his rating first. Tony, what do you got?
This is malevolent. This is bad.
yes.
This
Let
one
the
was
age
harsh.
flow through you, Tony.
I think beyond the general incompetence of some of the stuff, the fact that they just didn't lean in, like I have real problems with movies that just don't buy their own bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, just if you just lean into the garbage, I will eat your garbage if you believe you're garbage. You know what I mean? And so the fact that they were wavering and waffling on absolutely anything that they tried to establish, it was just like Ryan brought up a big, I don't know if it was before we started when we recorded, but there is a frame of something that is interesting here.
Yeah.
Like you guys were saying, lost innocence, kids being scared of growing up and growing old, and the things that could be done, you could do with that, but they chose to ignore all of that to just do, I don't know, some sort of, this one's, you guys can skip this one. You guys can.
Thank you. I will.
Yeah, I would have loved to.
Let's do Zach.
This movie is a cavity. I didn't have fun with this compared to I don't know. Dead Silence got to be benevolent for me. Because maybe it was just because this didn't have any Donnie Wahlbergs that I could just attach to and like. This movie sucks. It's the Larry of movies. I'm going to say definitely Malevolent. Absolutely. Trevor, you got the most teeth knowledge. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, it didn't help me enjoy this a lick. This felt like sitting through a root canal.
0 out of 5 teeth.
That's right. This is 0 out of 5 teeth. I would rate
0
this.
out of 10 dentists would recommend this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my tagline. No, this is Malevolent. Absolutely. I would never watch this again. I remember being a young boy wanting to see this movie. I thought it looked cool off of the trailer, whatever I saw. But middle school, or I guess high school, Trevor, you're dumb. You like dumb
he's
stuff.
an idiot.
Yeah, we're going to have to go back in time and spank him.
He didn't know any better. Yeah, and I could prevent Tyler from getting that dry handy. Tyler, no, don't do it. But yeah, Malevolent. It was terrible. Never again. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, no, this is absolutely Malevolent.
No, what?
Yeah, oh yeah, well, no, I loved it.
I thought old Buckley was
this
having a great
movie.
time with this flick. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I rank it right up there with Kubrick. Darkness Falls
Okay.
really is a
Rank
masterpiece.
it right up there with Kubrick.
No, this was just a sloppy mess. I mean, maybe there could have theoretically been an okay film somewhere in this, but it was lost.
Sure.
Whenever they started shooting. All right, yeah, I'll see what Ryan has to say.
I hate to go against the grain, but
do not
you
get the hell out of
motherfucker.
here.
no, I'm kidding.
This is no sickness house. Don't you do this.
No, this movie sucks. It's bad, and I think that whatever the reasons, whatever problems are, I get it, but at the same time, I've got to judge the movie as it lays, and it's terrible. I remember now why I hated it. Partly the credits pissed me off that you get 12 minutes of credits. I think and the promise of the movie. That first scene's not, it's got some scares to it. What was good for a film, and then the movie doesn't deliver on that. I will say what I think is the kernel of a cool movie in there is not the tooth fairy stuff, but the idea of a guy who has to stay in the light all the time because he's being hunted by some supernatural creature or many creatures, and maybe he defeats them. I like this idea of what about this guy? You know, he has to always spend his life in some sort of light. And but he's become grizzled with it. And what that does to somebody, if he's always got to be he can never be in the darkness. I think there's a cool idea in that with the right writer, the right director, you could do something with that, but this movie doesn't do anything with that. It tries to hang too many things on too many ideas and too many rules, and it's bad all the way around. An absolute waste of time. The only reason I would say watch it is to follow along with us. So malevolent through and through. Tyler, wrap her on up.
I got nothing else to say. This is fucking pure malevolent. I was very angry when I was watching this. I have such low expectations for things. I mean, guys, it's been brought up multiple times. I fucking love Sickness House. I owe Andrew an apology for any shit I gave him, because he made a better movie with $11,000 than these guys did with $11 million. Didn't like it. It's rageful, but I gotta admit, I'm really excited about editing and releasing this episode. I'm thinking this is going to be a top 10 for Tyler.
This is going to be a slapper.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be had. Lot of goofs.
But I've got our next movie, because we're not quite to Bad October yet.
Not yet. What is it?
I got a little excited about this. I feel like we've been tiptoeing around this subject for quite a while. And I feel like it's time to just dive all the way in. From 2005, Cursed.
I pity whoever's being the Criterion on this one. Oh my God.
This is the Wes Craven werewolf horror, and in some ways comedy, I guess.
No.
Yes.
This was a movie that, as far as I know, there's like 6 different versions or something that exist. Oh my God. Yeah. Cursed. Yeah. Oof.
So I thought you guys might have some fun with this one. So
oh man,
yeah.
All right,
it's a stacked cast: Christina Ricci, Jesse Eisenberg, Judy Greer, Scott Baio, Shannon Elizabeth. There's a lot of people here.
Milo Ventimiglia coming back. Our buddy from not Gamebox. Stay Alive. Stay Alive. Oh, Nick Offerman is in this.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And so is Lance Bass and Bowling for Soup. What the fuck? Holy shit. See you next week, listeners. I don't know if this is the episode or what, but good lord.
Yeah. This is going to be a doozy to get to talk about this one.
All right, folks. Hey, stay tuned. The Hunt for Bad October 2022. Our 3rd season is coming at you soon.
Fuck yeah, number 3.
Joe, where can people get themselves some t-shirts?
Oh, you can go on Teespring. Teespring.
No.
Teely. You can go on Teely.
Try again.
T-Train.com.
Ask Ice-T. If you happen to see Ice-T walking about, ask him. He'll give you a t-shirt.
Hop on over to Threadless, where we might have an updated Monster Lover t-shirt soon, because Ryan's got the hots for some new monsters.
Yeah.
Volume 2 shirt coming out.
No, I haven't liked any monsters in a while. I've been disappointed with that.
No, we can put the younger Mary Shaw with the tongue.
Young Mary
I never
Shaw.
said I liked young Mary Shaw.
Yes, you did. You did.
Did I? I said I thought she was cool. I never said she was attractive.
I thought you did when she was young.
Yeah, I thought
and
you
if
said
had
you
the
wouldn't
tongue
hump
in there.
old Mary, but the young Mary in the stepmother is what you would do.
Yes, I did say it has to be, but it has to be that actress. It has to
Or
be
it's
that.
not Mary, but it's the
Don't put that geriatric old thing on there.
Yeah. She lets her puppet children watch.
Leave some comments. Joe, where can they hop on over to get some more community engagement?
No, you can go over to our brand new Discord. It's right there in the description. Beautiful stuff over there. Come check it out. We got memes.
There's literally nothing in there as of us doing this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the 100th guest, the 100th joiner gets a Malevolent Movies keychain.
That's where I post all my Joe Buckley fan fiction.
Yeah, Tony's our guy.
The first 10 people to join the Discord get teeth.
Yeah. Whatever kinds you want. Molars, bicuspids, anteriors, posteriors.
Joe will sneak into your room and put something under your pillar.
Oh yeah, you don't know what until you reach down and find it.